Hey, friends. Hey, what is today? Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. August the 21st, 11:36 a.m. How is everybody? How are you guys? Well, looks like we got a handful of people in here. Just put y'all in my little hand right here. Hi, guys. Hey, Ween baby. Hey, Ween baby. Hey, Miss King. Hey, Sherry and Gail. Hey, guys. We'll wait a little bit while everybody loads in. Let me go over here and tell the gals in Discord that we're um, alive. All right. We'll see if they get that message. We'll see if they get that message. Hello, hello, hello. Are you guys ready for more Sarah Boone? I'm not sick. I'm sick of Sarah Boone, but I'm not sick of talking about Sarah Boone. Let me just say that. I can't help it. Miss King, to answer your question, so I ended up taking her back to the doctor yesterday because she was not feeling good. I called, told them what was going on, and they said, you know what, let's just see her. So I got her down there yesterday evening. Hey, Margaret. Hey, Kel. So I got her into the doctor, and they said basically it's just leftover junk, which I kind of thought it was, but I thought she felt like she had a fever. And according to our thermometer, she had a fever, but according to their thermometer, she did not. So I don't know. Anyway, they said she could go to school today. So I took her to school today, and I will have you know that baby was so excited to go to school until we pulled into that daggone flipping parking lot. Pulled into the parking lot. She was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, let's do this. Let's go. Then we get into the drop off line, and she sees there's like 3 or 4 people that generally are standing there at the drop off line to help get kids, out of the vehicles and into the building. And the one guy, uh, she saw him and she's like, no, no. And I was like, okay. So he like passed her off to the next person in line, which was a girl. And she likes this girl, but when the girl opened the van door, she's like, no, I'm not doing it. I ain't doing it. I don't want it. So again, I had to pull off into a parking lot, have a discussion with her, explain to her that if we went home, all she would do is watch TV. But if she goes in there to the school, she gets to play with her friends that missed her. She gets to see her teacher. She gets to play with fun toys. She gets to color and read. And she cried, screamed, squalled. Big old crocodile tears flying out of her face. Snot flying. I'm like, great. She's going to get in there and puke again. They're going to call me again. And I ain't having it. I'd already made up my mind. If the nurse called me back to tell me that she was throwing up again, I was going to have the throwdown conversation with her about, look, listen, what we're not going to do is let her come home every day because she's crying and throwing up. That's not what we're going to do. Because all that does is teach her that if she cries and throws up, she gets to come home. And that's what we're not going to do. So, hold on. Husband is texting me asking if I've heard from the school because I've been waiting all day for that phone call. I'm assuming once she got in there that everything was fine. Oh, hold on. Okay, well, I got this message a while ago from the teacher. She says, "Hello, I just wanted to update you about this morning so far. Jolie was a little upset when she came in the room, but once she got settled in here, she was okay. She has stayed in a good mood so far, but I just wanted to let you know." Good deal. Now, don't get me wrong. I would much rather her be home with me. I'm not even going to lie. I would, my heart wants to go back there and yank her out and keep her home and never send her back, but that's not what's good for her. So, and y'all know she was having such a good time. She was loving it, right? I'm loving it. Anyway, now let me tell husband that teacher just texted and said she was still upset, but after a little bit, she was fine. I mean, do y'all blame me? Right? When she told me on Monday that she threw up and that it was a stomach, I'm like, it's not. I know my kid. I know my kid. It was not a stomach bug. No. I had thought maybe later on that evening that it could have been potentially a stomach bug because she did throw up some more, but that was because she was so snotty. And I know my kid. So, hey, Laura. Hi, Laura. Hey, Henny. Did I already say hi to you, Henny? I might have missed it. Miss King says, I love listening to all the Sarah Boone stuff. I think she is interesting. Well, I mean, I think she's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But I guess that's interesting. Henny said, been there, done that, Jenny. It's tough, right? Driving to work, so won't be in chat, hoping to work and lurk while at work. All right, Kel. I hope that you have a good day. Miss King said, that's so true. We have to teach them young. When I was a kid, if I did not go to school, I did not get to do anything. It only took a few times of not being able to do anything to keep me from staying home, right? Yeah. Laura, so Jolie came home sick on Monday. Okay. So she's had an ear infection. She was on antibiotics. She's super snotty and coughing, and she's a gagger, okay? If she cries a little too hard, she'll gag. If she gags more than a couple of times, that's all she wrote. Whatever she ate is going to make a second appearance, okay? So that's what happened. On Monday, she was out for a couple of days for the ear infection on antibiotics because she had a fever, yada, yada, yada. Well, Monday, I take her in. She's so excited to go. Well, as soon as we get there, she flips out and decides she don't want to go in. And they take her on into the building, assuming, oh, it's just a case of the Mondays, It's not uncommon for kindergartners to be a little bit boo-hooey. She gets in there. Before I can even leave the daggone parking lot to go home, I'm getting a phone call from the nurse that she's puking. So I have to go pick her up from the nurse's place in there. And she's like, oh, well, there's a little bit of a stomach bug going around. And I'm like, well, but I know her, and she was crying her head off and puked. And she's got all this drainage still, right? So they wouldn't let me send her back. She has to be like 24 hours puke free and fever free before they'll let him come back. So she had to miss Tuesday. And she was supposed to go back today. Well, yesterday I took her back to the doctor because she just acting like she wasn't feeling good. And it was just regular leftover congestion, snot, yuck. But there's nothing. She's fine. She's not got a fever, nothing. So, and she started crying again today. So, but finally I got a message from the teacher telling me that once she got in the room, she turned it around. She turned her frown upside down. So, Bama Cat, hey, if the kids don't have a fever, the nurse won't call home here. Well, see, that's how it should have been. I asked him when she told me to come and pick her up. I'm like, is she running a fever? I mean, if she got a fever and she's throwing up, okay. Nope. She's not running a fever. No. But I know my kid, and that's why today, if she would have thrown up again today, after missing Monday and Tuesday, I would have had a whole discussion with the school. I would have been like, look, I'm telling you, this child throws up. If you look at her side-eyed, sideways, she'll puke. She's just a puker. And I can't help that, So, okay, we're going to get into Sarah Boone. We're going to watch the behavior panels. Let me share this stream. Share screen. Okay. You guys, I wanted to watch this with you guys yesterday when we were watching the Sarah Boone interrogation, but I didn't. It got late, and so I decided to push the behavior panel analysis thing over to today. But I've got a few streams that I got to get squeezed in here soon because there's stuff going on in there's 3 different stories that I want to discuss very, very soon. One of them is this creepy, pervy, disgusting human doctor. He's a whole doctor in Michigan. I can't pronounce his name, but it's something like Omar Ajaz, something like that. He's like 40-ish years old. Physician. He's an internist somewhere in Michigan. And he has been charged and is being held on a $2 million bond, no 10%, for, I think right now they've only got 4 or 5 counts. I can't remember, but it has to do with SA. So he has, basically he's a voyeur. They have come to find out via his wife that he has thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of photos and videos of, I think, men, women, and children. In hospitals, in some of these, in other places, even a swim school, like a swimming place where you go get swimming lessons for kids in the dressing room. He's got footage from there. Like he's had like cameras just stuck here, there, and yonder everywhere he goes. And, has even been shown to have been performing SA on people. So he's in the camera, in the videos too, some of them. He's a sicko, okay? But yeah, I want to talk about that this week. what is today? Today's Wednesday. Yeah, we're going to discuss that. And then also some more information on Christopher Schultes, the dad of the little 2-year-old Parker from Arizona, who he is charged now with first-degree murder of his 2-year-old daughter that he left in a hot car. And then there's some more Stephen Stearns, Jen Soto stuff that I want to talk about. Lots of stuff and I can't keep up. I can't keep up with it all. But we're going to get into this. We're going to get into Sarah Boone. And we're going to watch this. So, hold on. Let me get to the right spot. Okay. Let's hit the play button. We're going to get started right away.
Today we're going to talk about the interrogation of Sarah Boone.
Now, remember from a couple days ago, I said whenever you always hear this, do, 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 do. I mean, they always have this whistling at the beginning of their videos. I don't understand why they do that. It drives me crazy, actually.
Greg, what else tell us about the videos we're going to watch?
We'll keep this pretty short. She was arrested in 2020 for this murder. I think she was charged with second-degree murder. This is the Orange County Sheriff's Department, and the same 2 investigators are talking to her. This is a day later than when they went to talk to her on site.
So, to your recollection, no videos on Sunday?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I maybe it took a picture of them, the two of Tess and
The dogs.
and George and them dancing, but I mean, it's just Tess.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I have something that I want to show you that we found, and it was from your phone.
Mm-hmm.
She's so nervous all of a sudden.
If you need to move it around, go ahead.
No, I don't remember that.
For everything you've done to me. For everything you've done to me.
Your battery's about to die.
Shut it down.
Oh, okay.
Let me.
Shell Bell, hi and welcome, and thank you for that. That is very interesting and very cool. I did not know that. Shell Bell says the whistling is a tribute to the Columbo series. Columbo often whistled This Old Man. I didn't know that. That's very cool. I like that. Very cool. You learn something new every day, right? Knick knack, paddywhack, give the dog a bone. This sounds like the whistle. It does, yeah. And it is This Old Man, right? Thank you for that. Margaret says, he sure did. I remember that. Crazy. Yeah, hi and welcome, Bama Cat and Shell Bell. Thank you guys for that. And if you're new around here, hello. We're a very friendly bunch. Sorry, I was ranting and raving about my kiddo a while ago. We're called this channel is the Crime Cafe, and we have a lot of cafe. We like to treat our channel over here like a cafe where all of us friends can just sit around and drink coffee and chit chat about true crime, right? All right, here we go.
The battery doesn't last very long.
Yeah, it used to last a lot longer than that. I don't know what happened.
Okay. Let me just grab something.
All right.
Now she's sitting there like,
No, I was just simply asking because you had a look on your face when she asked you if you've ever done that before. You looked kind of shocked and.
No.
Okay, but why did you say it like that? Like.
I don't think you all understand who I am,
Okay. Well, tell me.
I mean, I've always been a straight A student. I am an outstanding mother to my son. I excel at everything.
Oops, sorry. I'm sitting here texting, being loud.
I would not do that.
You wouldn't lock somebody in a suitcase?
Well, I didn't like completely lock it. I mean, I opened it with one finger. I left enough in there for him to get out.
Okay.
And I wasn't planning on going upstairs and going to sleep.
Okay.
All right, Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, so what should have become an oath moment turns into a whale moment. When you are an interrogator, everything is about control. Everything's about me being in charge of the entire environment, not about going in with a dead battery and actually the perp looking over and going, hey, your battery's dying. This is an opportunity to show a video that is very compromising. And what do? They come in and bumble that.
Hey, Tanika. Hi. Welcome. She's feeling better. She still cried this morning going into the school, but teacher sent me a message and said she's doing okay. She's in a much better mood. So, and she is feeling a little bit better. So that's good. Welcome back to the chat today.
That's not a good start to an interrogation. She's calm. I don't know why she's as calm as she is, but maybe she was just plowed when this thing happened. Mm-hmm. But there's no planning and prep here. She calmly points that out. Her breathing does increase, and you can see it because we're looking down on top of her. You see her breathing rate increase, and then she loses fluency. And Chase, you'll appreciate this. She says, "Fine," just like the guy from Stephen McDaniel video. "Fine." So she's lost fluency, and then she goes to a resume statement that is one of the dumbest I've ever heard. I'm a straight A student. This is a 40-something-year-old woman who zips a guy up in a suitcase, and that's her defense. That's not a good defense. Mm-hmm. So if I were interrogating her, I'd anchor her admission that she knew it wouldn't be good for him to stay in the suitcase that long and start from there. I would say, why'd you leave the hole, number one? And she'd say, well, I left the hole because he needed some air. Well, then why'd you go upstairs? Mm-hmm. Because she says, I wouldn't have left him zipped up and gone upstairs. So she's got some cognitive dissonance here just right by saying, look, I left a hole because I knew it was dangerous. I wouldn't have gone upstairs so right there, you got the beginning of the whole problem. If you're already convinced of her guilt, which you are when you use this process, this is a Reed style process, ideally, but this is a Reed style process. You start off convinced of guilt and you're looking for a confession. This is not an intelligence interrogation. They should anchor what she starts off with by saying, I left it open enough that he could get some air, and I didn't plan to go upstairs. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, so here's a universal in terms of how all of us behave, no matter who you are or who you think you are, is we are all trying to defy gravity in some way. We're all, at most points in our life, in some kind of battle against gravity, no matter what sex you are, where you were born, who nurtured you. We're all trying to work with gravity. In this particular situation, the sticks and rubber bands that are holding her body together are not working at their full capacity, and so we get this convex abdomen where gravity has taken hold of her shoulders and it's pulling her down. Now, you could say it's an abdominal retreat and maybe there's some nervousness there, and I think that would be true as well. But as the shoulders are rolled forward and she's so sunk into that chair, I think she's really feeling the pressure of this whole situation, and it's dragging her down. If you want some interesting work on that concave abdomen, Cuddy, who's well known in the body language world, did some interesting papers on that abdominal retreat in pubescent females. Very, very interesting how the introduction of estrogen and body image will cause females to become concave there. Anyway, I'm with you, Greg. Straight A's, outstanding mother, excel at everything. Well, that's just grandiose at this point. And so, Greg, I think you're right. She doesn't show a lot of nervousness in the way that we'd expect it. She seems quite calm. She's got them kind of messing up clearly right from the get-go. I don't think it's a tactic of theirs to have a dodgy battery at all. I think it's an absolute mistake. But yet she is concave, and she's going for these grandiose images as well to prove herself. Not looking good from the get-go, even with some terrible mistakes going on from the interviewers. Scott, what do you got on this one?
All right. I'm not going to focus as much on her as I am on the interrogation. This is the worst interrogation I've ever seen in my life. It's not bungled and nothing went wrong. The whole
What do you guys think about that statement from Scott? I mean, for those of you that have seen this Sarah Boone interrogation like 102 times, what are your thoughts about Scott's? I mean, I understand what Greg was saying about well, then, why did you leave a hole? Well, if you needed to breathe, why did you go upstairs? But what do you think? Do you think it was a terrible investigation? I mean, I don't know how to investigate. That's not my thing, right? But I would have never thought that it was a terrible investigation, but that's just me. I'm not, I thought it was kind of pretty cool the way they handled the video and like, do you remember doing this? This is on your phone. Well, why do I mean, other than letting her sort of rule the roost, so to speak, in letting her talk and letting her continually say, it wasn't intentional. We had a good day. It was just one bottle of wine. Blah, 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 blah. But, I mean, one thing I've heard about investigation or interrogation, I guess, is that one thing you want to do is let them talk. Let them talk. Let them, I don't know. Miss King agrees. Steph said, I think it worked out in their favor, to be honest. Why was she focused on their battery and not the content of the video? Who knows? Right.
thing is, this is not an interrogation. It's just some people fussing in a room. That's all it ends up being. After she brings up the part about her boyfriend being in a suitcase, in walks that detective with a new cord for the computer. After this guy's been talking, the other detective has been asking her questions. And while she's answering his question, he gets up and walks over and starts dicking around with a wall plug while she's talking, while she's telling him the answer to the question he asked. And then when she finishes her answer, he says, "Okay," and gets up, doesn't look at her, and shuts the door. I was dumbfounded by that. And you could say this is a technique. This is some kind of, it's not. There's never seen this before, never heard this, and you'll see it's not a technique because it doesn't get any better than this. The body language of disinterest and disrespect is incredible here that they have for there's no rapport building. There's nothing. I don't think they know what they're doing, and we're going to see that as we go through this. Maybe
I did notice that because you know how when Scott just mentioned the rapport building, you know how a lot of times you'll see investigators, they'll say things like, I keep saying investigators, but whenever they're doing their interrogation or their interview or whatever you want to call it at that point, right? They'll say things like, "Oh, I know things have been hard for you." Like the other day I was listening to an interrogation of a woman who had smothered her child, okay? It just popped up on my news feed and I was watching it when they were doing her interrogation. And the whole time they're making her feel like, you've had such a bad life. We're sorry. You're not a bad person. You're not a bad mom. Things just happen. We snap, that sort of thing. Like getting them to feel comfortable and that you're actually on their side and all that kind of thing. They didn't do any of that. But at the same time, I kind of am thinking, they don't really need to do that because they don't need her to admit to anything because they have video evidence on her own phone. So, I don't know.
maybe they're burnt out, but their disinterest in it, it just floored me. Chase, what do you got?
Absolutely agree. While this isn't a great interrogation, the setup of this interrogation room is primo. It's great.
Yeah, they got her backed into a corner.
There's no table between them. There's no one sitting between the suspect and the door. This is the setup that we should have seen, in lots of other videos. Those two rules of thumb should be in every interrogation room. We see it in this one. I just wish the interrogators were there too. I too am a longtime victim of Panasonic Toughbook battery life. I can attest they are awful. But there's a lot of stuff there. You also notice that the door is not blocked. There's a clear line to the door. That's a good, important point that I've always heard in training, and I've seen it. I've seen the results in real life. If the interrogators had the ability to spot behavior, they would know that one of her biggest objections to confession would be feeling like she isn't known or appreciated. And what do? She's not known. They don't even look at her. They don't build rapport with her. They don't do anything to make exactly what she needs. And not everyone needs to feel known and appreciated. Some people need different things, and we'll get into that in the next couple. That's all I got.
Yeah, let me add one thing. I taught interrogation, and I've seen few that were this bad, because at least my students listened to what the person is saying and didn't say, whoa, hold on, don't tell me that. I want to ask you something else. That's the first step in interrogation. Listen.
So, to your recollection, no videos on Sunday?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I mean, I get my son, maybe it's like a picture of them, the two of Tess and
The dogs?
and George and them dancing, but I mean, it's just Tess.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I have something that I want to show you that we found, and it was from your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see it?
If you need to move it around, go ahead.
No, I don't remember that.
For everything you've done to me. For everything you've done to me.
Your battery's about to die.
Shut it down.
Oh, okay.
Your battery's about to die.
Let me.
The battery doesn't last very long.
Yeah, it used to last a lot longer than that. I don't know what happened.
Okay. Let me just grab something.
All right. No, I was just simply asking because you had a look on your face when she asked you if you've ever done that before. You looked kind of shocked and,
No.
okay, but why did you say it like that? Like,
I don't think you all understand who I am,
okay. Well, tell me.
I mean, I've always been a straight-A student. I am an outstanding mother to my son.
Okay.
I excel at everything.
Oh my God, I can't stand that.
I would not do that.
You wouldn't lock somebody in a suitcase?
Well, I didn't, completely lock it. I mean, I opened it with one finger. I left enough in there for him to get out.
Okay.
And I wasn't planning on going upstairs and going to sleep.
Okay. No, it's just the way you said it.
Ween baby.
Sorry.
That is such a ween baby comment right there. Ween baby, I love you so much. Ween baby always comes in with the snark. And I love this comment. She said she didn't excel at that haircut. I can't with you. She didn't excel at that haircut. Ay, ay, ay. Hi, Nicholas. Hi, and welcome. Welcome, welcome. Textbook narcissist. She is definitely narcissist, for sure. Tanika says the only thing is that this is their third time meeting with her. They know she's combative. Gosh. She sure did not. Bev's bangs. I love that emoji. Did anybody tell me yesterday what the difference between an emote and an emoji is? Because I still don't know. I still have no idea.
Hey, no, watch this. This came from your phone. Don't you want to know what's on it?
Yes, please.
Oh, and side note, FYI, let me go back real quick. Hold on a second. I want to go. Let me go look. How do I? Bum, 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 ba-dum. Bum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, 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 ba-dum. All right, there we go. Let me. So yesterday I had a poll in the chat, and the question was if you guys thought that she remembered taking that video of him in the suitcase. And I did not end that poll before the video, before I ended the stream. I forgot. And at the time, that poll was like 50-50 split. Which surprised me because I really thought the vast majority of you guys were going to say that you felt like the video, that she didn't remember taking that video. But a lot of you felt like she did remember taking it. So it takes forever for the live chat to pop up on whenever I'm in an older video of mine. I'll give it a few minutes and see if it pops up. But Henny said yes, 55%, and no was 45%. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Laura says she knew she took that video. See, I feel the complete opposite. I feel like that she was completely blindsided with it. Steph says, y'all don't forget to give Jenny a thumbs up. The opposite of Sarah's haircut. Yes. Yeah. Make sure you guys give the video a thumbs up. I appreciate it very, very much. And if you're new here, we invite you to subscribe. And if you do subscribe, click the all notification bell. I appreciate that too. Hey, Rogue, it's clear that they didn't play good cop, bad cop with her. They were both bad cop. Yeah. Yeah. True. The dude was bad cop and the chick was like, really giving, I'm not impressed with you. I don't like you. I'd just as soon throw you in jail right now and not even have you speak another word. So.
Is it long? Because I don't know how much I can take.
No.
I don't know how much I can take.
I don't know how to find her.
Do I have to watch this? I continuously throw up. I don't sleep. I don't want to see it, if that's okay.
Well, it's on your
Rogue
phone.
really likes the chick.
And
G'day.
you can either explain it or
G'day.
you take it for what it is.
Yeah. We're just trying to give you the opportunity to tell us what's going on. That's it.
G'day.
It's that long?
2 minutes.
No, but-
For everything you've done to me. For everything you've done to me.
It's you, your voice.
Stupid. Sarah. That's my name. Don't wear it on. Sarah, I can't believe it. Yeah, that's when you do when you choke me. Sarah.
It's a good
Sarah.
I don't want to watch it.
yeah, it's a good point of view there. As another creator pointed out, Chelsea, okay, so that's their names, Chelsea and Scott. Chelsea seems to abandon the idea of being nice to Sarah altogether. LOL, Scott seemed nicer from my perspective. He did, and he she just acted, the female just acted like she just wasn't, had zero zero care at all. So, and I can't say that I blame her. Can't say that I blame her.
Yeah, please.
She was not
I'll
impressed.
go first on this one. Chase, I'm gonna have to go against you on the setup of the room. I think the person you're talking to needs something. They need something to lean on, just a little something, just that corner. I'd put that thing, I'd get them so they're in the corner right there. I wouldn't sit right next to him. The thing that scared me half to death when he stood up and put his gun in her face or put his side over there, all she had to do was reach up there, grab that, and pop both of them, and she's out. You know, and then go down the hall if she knew how to work her way out of that. That completely freaked me out when he did that. His gun's right there in her face. It would just be really easy to get a hold of it. And I really think people need a thing to protect themselves just a little bit so they can at least get some comfort in there.
I didn't think about that with the whole gun situation. Yeesh. You would think that would be a no-brainer for the cop. How long? I mean, the dude has been a cop for a while, and where is that at? Orange, is it, where at in Florida is it? I forget. There's so many cases in Florida that I forget where's where. But I feel like they're in a bigger area. He should know better than that, right? I don't know.
For themselves so you can help them relax, because if not, they're going to be they don't know where to put their hands. And look at the way she's sitting all bunched up and uncomfortable, and with their personalities they're not going to be able to get her to loosen up a little bit. But I think it's just a mess. Before they can get the video ready, she starts telling them that she doesn't want to watch it. She gets sick. She hadn't been sleeping. They missed their window here for shock value for this thing completely. There's no way to go, really? What's this? You said you didn't have a thing, and let's watch this. They don't shut up the whole time. There's not a spot in this entire interrogation where they're quiet more than 20 seconds, 15, 20 seconds tops. She says, I don't know how much I can take. There's the door to go in. Take what? What do you know about these? What do you think about this video? Tell me, and you just break it up and give it to them so they can start talking.
I wonder if these cops,
pretty still while she's watching the video, no emotion, no oh my.
I wonder if these cops have watched this video from the behavior panel guys. I wonder if those two have watched this and been like, "Jeez, they think I suck at my job."
My God.
Oh, and side note, has anybody ever taken the True Crime Workshop by Scott and Greg? I think it's Greg. Has anybody taken that? I went and looked. It's like if you use the code Dr. Phil or something, you get like half off or something. I just wondered. I pulled the website up if anybody wants to go look. Where did it go? Hold on, let me find it. Here it is. Let me share it. True Crime Workshop. If anybody's got, some time and a little bit of cash on their hands, I don't know. I think it would be pretty cool, but goodness knows I ain't got the time.
No, nothing, especially if she hasn't seen it before and she's not aware of it. There's no surprise there. There's no shock there. There's no horror there. And she just calmly sits back in her chair and she says, I don't want to watch it, please. And they turn it off for her at that point. And then so far we've seen no structure to an interrogation. There doesn't seem to be a goal. The woman detective talks, and then the guy detective talks, and they're asking two different questions. And just as he finishes a question and Sarah starts to answer, the woman starts asking another question. Nobody's in control. Nobody is leading. There's no teamwork here. There's no structure to what's going on. This thing is headed right for the squatter. I mean, it's in the squatter. And I don't think there's a way to get it out. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah. So, Scott, I think you missed out on the shock value of the shirt. That's where they're going for the shock value. Okay. That's where it is. That's where clearly, this might be your first rodeo on this, Scott. So clearly you haven't seen this technique. Okay.
Not yet.
But he's leaving with that shirt straight down to Bojangles nightclub. That is
My God.
That is exactly where that shirt fits in. What is he wearing? What is he wearing? Number one. But then he's got the badge there, which, automatically just, he's got the weapon, he's got the badge, he's got this audacious shirt. I mean, there's nothing comfortable about this situation. And look, we're not saying you have to make criminals comfortable,
Wow, Mark.
but if you want them to open up to you, you have to give them
Jeez.
some basic fundamental comfort levels. This isn't doing it. She goes straight into it. She takes that victim.
I feel like I need to go sit in the corner. He's roasted that guy. He just roasted that cop, man. What is he wearing? Oh my God, that made my morning. It's afternoon now. That made my 12 o'clock hour.
Stance. You guys are scaring me. I don't know
Oh my
how much
God.
I can take. I continuously
Mark is their
throw
wee
up.
baby,
I don't
right?
sleep. So she's taking this opportunity of the stress of this situation to cast herself in the victim. She goes more concave. They're not picking up on any of this because they're dealing with their tech right now, and they haven't. I mean, that release of the video should be built up to. It seems, I don't know how long they've been there.
Yeah, Nicholas.
But in this tape,
He's got
it
on
seems
like a
almost
bright
immediately.
red.
There you go. There's our
crimp-
ace
well,
card.
a deep
Let's just
red.
throw it. Oh, we just screwed it up. Oh no, never mind. I mean, it's terrible. From the soundtrack in the
He has a deep
in
red,
the
like
actual tape that
crimson
they're
colored shirt
showing,
on. Yeah.
and you can probably find that on the internet somewhere. It's pretty grim, so I don't suggest you should go and look at it. But if you want to get a closer listen to that soundtrack, is she glib in that, or is she drunk? What is it about her demeanor there that means she can be so kind of light around what she's saying? Is it slurred? Is she had more than
I'm just over here dropping
half
stuff.
a
Never
bottle
mind
or a
me.
bottle? Not sure, or is there a glibness to it? Again, this is a question on my part. I don't have an answer to that, but so far, man, the fashion has done it for me. Chase, what do you got on this one?
He's still on it.
I don't want to hit too hard on the investigators because many times I'm standing in front of a room with one of those little microphones with 55 detectives, homicide detectives, and I do a show of hands at day one. Who's had interrogation training? Maybe, or maybe 4 hands go up. Maybe. So a lot of times it would astonish most people how little interrogation training police departments invest in. So here is some interrogation training for you based on this one clip. When you hear somebody's objections and initial requests in an interrogation room, objections, initial requests, or in almost any high stress situation, they are using behavioral patterns that worked for them in the past. Greg says this all the time. The organism does what makes it successful. We carry a lot more from childhood into adulthood than we really realize. These patterns here are extremely revealing about her psychology and her behavioral patterns. Here's the question you should be asking yourself when you see anything even remotely similar to what you're seeing here. What is being used to escape a stressful situation? In Sarah's case, she's using fear, not injecting it, but talking about being scared. You guys are scaring me. And she's using being overwhelmed. I don't know how much I can take. These two things alone got her out of trouble before, I guarantee it. And if you're the interrogator, you will now know that will be the way that, you know, she used to be to get out of stuff in the extreme. And she's going to do it later if you don't jump on them and use some training to stop those from the beginning of the interrogation, or to preempt some of those objections, because that's going to be the barrier to a confession. Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, let's talk about interrogation for a minute. When we talk about interrogation, there are really two real schools of thought in today's world. One is Reed. The Reed technique goes from the supposition you've done all the work and you know the person's guilty and you're going after information, and use things that we refer to as themes. They were ways of letting a person out and feel okay about telling you that. In the Scharfian version, Hans Scharf, the brilliant Luftwaffe interrogator who used non-coercion on Americans, what he did was work your psyche, make you feel better about talking, gain trust, get you to do whatever it took. Either one of these has a certain set of approaches. If you're going from Reed, you would give them rational outlets for why this happened at this point. That's the way you go. If you're going from Scharf, when she brought up those accomplishments in the last video, you'd say, tell me more about that. You must be pretty smart. You start working her ego. You're working her right back into the same place so that when you go to say, look, be rational, and she's told you how brilliant she is, you put her at odds with herself. None of that's happening here. And Chase, I agree with you. Few people get good interrogation training. It's the reason we all have jobs. If you watch her, when this whole thing starts, she's got a lip compression and internal dialogue. She does this. She's withholding something. We don't know what that is. Could be emotion, could be other information, but she's withholding something as this female detective sets that laptop up. And she goes to internal dialogue. She's thinking to herself something about what's going on. It could be, hey, what the hell are they doing? And she does this when she says, you're scaring me. Well, we associate this with real stress relief because you're massaging those muscles right in that forehead that show concern and grief and all of those things, and they get knotted over time. I would say when she starts working through there and working through this thing, the why question is the most powerful one you can ask. It always works. Children ask it for a reason. When she says, you're scaring me, I'd say, why are we scaring you? Why? Simple question. You get her started in the process of answering.
Hey, Michelle.
And then she asked the question, is it long? And Scott, when she says, is it long and I don't know how much I can take? Hold on. I thought you didn't know this video. You tell me how long it is and you tell me why you can't take it. That's what I want to know. That's all. I'd stop right there. That's a source lead. I always tell you guys, when a person brings something up, they're willing to talk about it. If you bring it up, they may not be, but that is a missed opportunity. They don't pay attention to her. They're not listening to her, and they're looking to each other. They came in with a plan. And this is the number one problem with interrogators. If I go in a room full of people who think they're good interrogators, most of them will say, I've always won arguments. That's not an interrogator. That's an arguer. That's our knucklehead from the Waukesha parade who is always won by barraging people with BS or some other way. Good interrogation is not that. I may look stupid just to win in a good interrogation. It's all about getting what I need, either confession or information, and going after it.
You should have been here a while ago.
Are powerful. Okay.
You should have been here a while ago whenever Mark was roasting the male cop that's doing the interrogation. Oh my God. He roasted him so hard. So hard. I missed this comment. Nicholas said exactly, LOL, this new judge is so calm and patient and direct. I really like this judge. Yeah, I'm kind of eager to see during the trial how that goes, because that's when we'll find out just how much patience he really has, right? Oh, you've seen it already, Michelle, right? Yeah. Sorry, that was I, it cracked me up.
Okay, then this prop thing, know when to say when. Turn that damn thing off and turn and listen to what the source is saying, what the perpetrator's saying. She's moved from internal voice to emotional eye accessing at this point. Her torso, Mark, to your point, is caving in. She's shrinking into that chair.
Big
If
snort.
you turn right now and talk to her and you use the right approaches, the right themes, you're going to get this person to start bleeding information because she's on the verge of going emotional and going into a shell. That's what you're looking for, and that's the beginning of it. You don't have to watch this if you tell us what happened,
Love you
is the
too,
answer. You should say,
Michelle.
I agree. Just tell us what happened. We're just trying to get the bottom of it, and this is what we can see. And she's almost moving into that, what we call I'd call a clamshell exoskeleton, where her feet are crossed under a chair and her voice is dropping and her body is caving in. Guys, and that chin is covering her throat. That's the beginning of pre-concussion
Oh yeah,
body
total
language.
mom
And we
not
know
today,
exactly
Michelle.
how to get it to
Total
happen.
mom
What
not.
you
Yeah.
don't do is go headlong at her and attack her. What you do is go, okay, tell us exactly what happened. Soften it, get there. And regardless of what space you have, I mean, we all have opinions about space. It all has to be built around mission. What usually is a doctrinal change from this is you carry no weapon whatsoever in any interrogation room. I'll go back to my SEER days when we had a guy named Rocky Gonzalez who struck a guy and he came out flying out of the room. We went and found out what happened. He
Have a
said,
good
I hit
day.
the
I
guy and
hope
he
you
turned
have
into
lots
Bruce
of
Lee.
beautiful
You never know
hair
who's in the room
sessions
with you.
today.
You never know who's in the room with you. So we don't wear any kind of gear that they can get their hands on or any kind of weapons. Bad doctrine. And this is a bad start to an interrogation, regardless of what caused it. Just my opinion.
Yeah. Now, if you don't know who we are, we're the Behavior Panel. Now, I'm Scott Rouse. I created the only online true crime course with Greg Hartley. Mark, let's we do that again. You guys get me on
Just
that.
do your don't do the true crime
the
thing.
script
Just do
from
it.
Star Wars. You can write that stuff, but you can't say it.
All right. If you don't know who we are, we're the Behavior Panel. I'm Scott
I gotta
Rouse. I'm a
rewind
body
that.
language
I'm
expert and
sorry.
analyst.
I gotta
created-
rewind that part.
If you don't know, let's the Behavior Panel.
Of what
I
caused
love
it.
these
Just my opinion.
guys.
Yeah. Now, if you don't know who we are, we're the Behavior Panel. Now, I'm Scott Rouse. I created the only online true crime course with Greg Hartley. Mark, let's we do that again. You guys get me on
Just
that.
do your don't do the
Like
true crime
the
thing.
script
Just do
from
it.
Star Wars. You can write that stuff, but you can't say it.
All right. If you don't know who we are, we're the Behavior Panel. I'm Scott Rouse. I'm a body language expert and analyst. I created the God. Now my brain
leave
is
it and go over it, yeah.
I'm trying to. Let's go to the next one.
He's over it. He's like, forget it.
No, it's just the way you said it.
That stuff is pure gold.
Well, we just want you to watch this. This came from your phone. Don't you want to know what's on it?
Yes, please.
Don't you want to know what's on it? Don't you want to know what's on it? It's your phone, Sarah.
Is it long? Because I don't know how much I can take.
No.
It's only 2 minutes.
I don't know how much I can take.
I don't know how to find your...
Somebody said it in here yesterday.
Do I have to watch this?
George basically said the same
I
thing.
continuously throw up. I don't sleep. I don't want to see it, if that's okay.
Well, it's on your phone, and you can either explain it or we take it for what it is.
Yeah. We're just trying to give you the opportunity to tell us what's going on. That's it.
It's that long?
2 minutes.
See, she don't remember. I don't think she remembers taking this video. I personally don't think she remembers, but I don't know. I can also be very naive sometimes. Rogue says, I know the purpose of an interrogation is to get a confession, but they got the video evidence and her admission that she intentionally left him in that position, regardless how she justifies herself. I had to laugh because you said the word intentionally. And we know how unintentional it was, right? All right. Sorry.
You, your voice.
Stupid. Sarah. That's my name. Don't wear it on. Sarah. I can't believe it. Sarah. Yeah, that's when you do it. Shows me. Sarah. Sarah.
I don't want to watch it, please.
Last time we talked to you, you had said that you put him in the suitcase, you had 2 fingers hanging out, and you
I
went to
flipped him
bed.
over.
Sarah, I can't believe it.
I flipped him over, and that's where it was.
And there's 2 different videos and a still picture where, yeah, it shows you flipping him in different positions, and him saying that he can't breathe, and you saying,
This is upside down. So in order for him to have gotten into it,
It was flipped up.
right, it was flipped up normal.
Yes.
Like as if you're packing something. So this is upside down.
Guys, this is killing me right now.
So this image, it's upside down, and then this small video that occurred 11 minutes later, it's flipped over the other way, closer to your dining room table.
Okay.
Now, he's obviously still in there. So he didn't, how did it go from the back to the front?
I flipped it.
Okay.
My plan was not to go upstairs and go to sleep,
Well, that's what you did.
yeah.
but not intentional.
No, you told me you went upstairs because
What?
you were
Stop
getting ready
here.
for bed.
Stopped here.
Okay, but
Where's here?
show me where you can see any fingers coming out, because there's the end.
And his head's right here.
Mm-hmm.
So
Rogue, I kind of agree with you here. She said, well, and to be fair, Rogue, I said she, but I don't know if you're a guy or a gal. Anyway, they say, I just think these guys are being too critical of the detectives. It's not like they're dealing with a criminal mastermind here. So, one thing I said earlier is that, bye, Michelle, have a great day too. I hope you have a great day. What I was saying earlier is that I feel like they didn't really need to interrogate much because, like you said, they had video evidence of what happened. I mean, of course, there were probably some bits and pieces. You know, maybe they were hoping that she would say, oh, yeah, I did it on purpose. You know, but I don't know. I mean, I just feel like I personally don't know how to, I mean, I didn't go to school to be an investigator or to learn how to interrogate people. You know, I don't know the ins or outs about any of that, but I thought that they did a decent job. But these guys, you know, these behavior panel, they're you know, they're not feeling it, but I don't know. What do I know? Oh, guy. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
going like this, rather than going all the way up, it's like this.
And sorry if I called you a she.
But why is he saying I can't breathe, and why is he pushing on it as if he can't get out?
And it doesn't show a hole.
There's no hole. There's no fingers. I don't see his fingers. There's no hole.
I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like, I don't know, like, what you want me to tell you.
I'm just showing you, I'm just telling you what we see and what we've heard from the other
I
video.
understand.
He's begging for you to let him out. You're laughing in the beginning,
Oh,
and then in the
okay,
end it sounds kinda like
Ro.
a,
No. It's not malicious.
Well,
Nice. I like that name, Ro. I like it. I'm still going to call you Rogue, okay? Because, yeah. Ween Baby says, I agree, Rogue. A lot of the time, I think people give criminals too much credit. They're rarely masterminds. Well, Sarah Boone is clearly not a mastermind. Clearly. And it's, as far as in the interrogation, I don't feel like they had to get any sort of like admittance. You know, I mean, they had it. They have it on her phone. So, even though, right, Nicholas, she definitely thinks she is. She thinks she's a mastermind. I mean, come on. She's a straight A student. She excels at everything, even being a mother. We don't give her enough credit. She does have pretty handwriting. I'll give her that. Until she gets tired of writing, then it gets really sloppy and you can't read it. But Shell Bell says not a mastermind, but she got straight A's in high school. Right? And the haircut. Ween Baby's still on the haircut. You guys, Margaret says Sarah's a complete ding dong. Steph says we need more men here, preferably straight and single. Chaloon and I need some love. Steph. Definitely. Shell Bell, that cracked me up. You and me have the same brain apparently today. Yeah. I mean, she does get straight A's. She can use big words. I'll give her that. She can use big words.
same,
It's not malicious.
then what is that?
What is, you mean, to you?
Well,
Like if you were to,
Rogue,
if I were to,
Steph,
Yeah.
Rogue's free, but
Like,
he lives in
I
Sydney.
get told
Sorry.
anything but a white woman, so
Okay.
my intention was not to leave him in there. Please understand that. My intention was not to leave him in there.
but you went upstairs thinking that he could get himself
Yes.
out, but the video shows,
That's
at
what I
no
told
point
you.
can I see his fingers, and
He'll be
it
out
looks
here any
like,
minute.
and then 30 minutes later, he didn't show.
And he's telling you,
And I
he
didn't
can't
wake
breathe.
up.
Do you
He's
think
not able
he's
to get out.
joking? You told me he was laughing, and
We were
the
before.
video, there's no
When you
laughing.
first got in there,
Wow, that's wow. All right, Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, let me give you 3 poor choices of words. Number 1, you're killing me. Look, you're in there for murder. You're killing me is a bad choice of words because it's a tether. I can quickly say, well, let's talk about you and this. So there's an opportunity. My plan. Okay, you just said,
You had a
look, this
plan.
happened by accident. You didn't say accident. But if you're trying to get away with something and say it was an accident, my plan or bad choice of words. Now, whether she's conscious enough to realize that or not, that's why I say I don't think she's conscious of this. I think she doesn't realize what kind of trouble she's in, and she's just feeding into this. She also finishes a thought when the woman brings up,
Oh, Rogue's cracking me up too. Steph said this is the only place we are often enough to find husbands. Actually, my mom is from the U.S., so I talk like her. No Aussie Hemsworth accent. Sorry. I'm just full of disappointments. Oh, that's cute. Cute. Steph's like, so. Oh, wait, I've got a girlfriend that lives in Melbourne, excuse me, not Melbourne or Melbourne. It's Melbourne. So, yeah. I know, Margaret. What are we going to do with her, ma'am? What are we going to do with our Steph?
I think it was not malicious. That sure puts you in a bad place. So poor choice of words from the beginning, and they don't use elicitation there. Well, what do you think killing is? They have a flawed plan because they're not listening. They're there to argue and not interrogate. If you're listening, it would change your path. Look, I hate beating these guys up because you're right. They don't get enough training. I will, Mark, have to add to your comedy for just a minute and say, if you're Chris Noth, you have to wear Chris Noth clothes. And if you don't know who Chris Noth is, go look at all the cop shows, and he dresses all kinds of wild ways. This guy looks a lot like him, and maybe that's why he's dressing the part. They're here to argue, not interrogate. She leans into the evidence. I love it. She leans over to look at the evidence, and they don't lean on her then. She uses that my plan. That's a push-pull word. Anytime you use something like my plan, I thought there was no plan.
Yeah, he's talking about my plan and the you're killing me and it wasn't, or it's not malicious or whatever. Yeah. Those are, yeah, clearly 3 things you don't want to say. Whenever Margaret says, "What?" This right here, do you guys know how I envision that sounding when I hear her say, "What?" Do you guys know the movie A Christmas Story? The kid who wants the BB gun for Christmas, right? Well, do you remember the part where the kid says the F word? When he says, "Oh, fudge." And the mom tells the dad's like, "Ah," and they go home. And because he said the bad word, he gets soap in his mouth. And she says, "Where did you hear that word?" And he says, "Schwartz." The next thing you know, mom is calling Schwartz's mom and saying he said, blah, 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 blah. And then the kid's mom on the phone starts going, "What? What?" And then you hear her whacking the kid, and the kid's saying, "I didn't do it, Mom. It wasn't me." That Schwartz's mother's what screaming is Margaret. That's how I envision hearing that. Every time I see her type all caps, "what," that's how I hear Margaret saying it. Every time. The screaming, "What? What?" Yep. That's exactly how I'm saying it, says Margaret. I knew it. I knew it. I need to download that sound. I need to download that and make that an what do you call it? Sound bite. Rogue says, "Sorry, I was blushing." Yes, Shell Bell. Fa ra 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 ra. Yep. My favorite movie ever. I love that movie more than life.
Then's when I go, why did you leave a hole? Why'd you leave a hole? Because you needed air? Then why'd you go upstairs? You can't have both of those. They're not congruent. So you put her at odds with self, and then you go back after it. It's not intentional. Not intentional. Sounds like a guilty person saying it was on accident. She's prayerful when she says, "What do you want me to do?" She does that little chipmunk
Do it,
thing
Margaret.
again, hamster thing. And then she finishes the person's thoughts about malice.
She
That
does
doesn't
that.
sound good. These guys could have leaned in there and said, "Hold on, Sarah, I wasn't going to say malicious. Let's talk about that word. What does that mean to you?" That's the way you get a person to start telling you something about what's going on. And then he does get it. He almost gets it.
It's a good
He
little trick.
goes in and he says something to her that causes her to say, like he does me, when he says, "What does FU mean?" Like he does me, but they miss it. Again, they push and disparage her instead of going after it. If this is Reed, where's the narrative? If this is Sharp, where's the approach? So we got to have somewhere in there we start to figure this out. If you pay attention, when this,
Oh,
there's
wow,
a really
Nicholas,
great
yeah.
indicator that I think Reed would be powerful. When this female detective starts to rationalize what happened, watch the body language of her open up. It's powerful. It tells you that she's susceptible. But then she goes right back to the argument and
a
says,
good
"But
point,
the video
Nicholas,
shows,"
for
and you see
sure.
the body language shift. Really hard for me to watch. Scott, what do you got?
And see,
think
that's
even
the
with
sort of
training,
thing.
I think these two
That's the sort of thing that these guys see, right? Like me, from my perspective, I wouldn't notice that unless you call it out like you just did. But me watching it, I don't know. I think it would depend on the situation. But these guys know what to look for. They know the techniques, all these different techniques, the way that they're doing, and so that does make a lot of sense. If you missed it, Nicholas says the biggest pitfall from my perspective was when Scott asks a question to the effect of, give him 5 minutes for what in the bag, you know. And then Chelsea interjects without letting Sarah answer. So then, they could have got a real juicy detail, but Chelsea interrupted, right? A lot of missed opportunities. Rogue was caught off guard. Yeah, Sarah even glares at Scott in that moment before Chelsea interjects. Eesh. Eesh, eesh, eesh. Okay.
Who are burnt out or just don't want to be there. And we're going to see some examples later on that would prove my theory there. I don't think any kind of structure would help them. I think they need to get rid of them and start all over again.
Uh-oh.
He's sitting back in his chair running his own game. He's doing something else. They're asking two different questions almost at the same time. And when she says, "I don't know what you want me to tell you," he should have said, one of them should have said, "Look, I want to tell me why you did this," and just everybody hush. And then go on to, "Well, tell me why." There's no questioning. There's nobody in charge. There's nobody's leading. It's just bouncing around the room. And then I think the guy detective is the most uncomfortable interrogator I've ever seen in my life. He can't sit still, can't keep his fingers out of his nose. He can't stop scooching around, squishing around. It just looks like something's wrong. It looks like he's the guilty one when we're looking at it from this point of view.
Wow.
When she says, "My plan was not to go upstairs and go to sleep," they say, "But that's what you did." Come on, man. There's, a lot, even on TV shows, they know where to go after that. But they don't. They're not even following their TV show and movie structure. There's no structure here whatsoever. Her body language is pretty much the same as it has been. Like you were saying, Greg, she's doing the same thing. She's got her baseline, her basic setups that she does and uses to get rid of her stress and built up tension. And the protective things, everything seems the same. But this interrogation is not an interrogation. It's just a fuss. Chase, what do you got?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. This would have been a great opportunity because in this audio or in this video, there's a thing like she says, "You choked me." I would be on that. And I would say, "Well, I know you don't want to listen to it. And I'm sorry. We don't have to do that right now. We're going to have to, but I wanted to ask you about one thing in there when it said he was choking you. And that happened to my sister. And it's disgusting.
Okay, quick little nugget here. If anybody is in or around Rhonda, North Carolina, be on the lookout. There is a little boy and a little autistic boy missing named Zach Walker. So, just keep your, keep your eyes out if you're in that area. Hopefully he's found safe quickly. Steph has zero filter. We love our Steph. Okay, let's continue.
And I wanted to ask you if that is a true statement or you made that up. So now we can get
Rogue, my oldest, he has autism. He's 18, and I have to say he's a pretty awesome kid too. He's a pretty awesome kid too. Absolutely.
clarity there. And now we're starting to project. And which right after this rationalization, we've shown that she's susceptible to that. Boom, project. I'm going to leave the rest of it alone. This video If you watch this video again, which you're going to right after I finish talking here, this is as if you interviewed Dwight Schrute from Dunder Mifflin. That's the character we're seeing across the table there. That's all I got.
I want to go.
Yeah. Yeah, Mark, you can have a turn this time.
Yeah, let me jump in. Look, here would be my structure, okay? Watch and listen, watch and listen, watch and listen, and ask questions out of curiosity. And there's this moment right up the front where she retreats right back. It's a big movement from her baseline of being subdued by gravity. She goes right back and she says, I don't want to watch it, please. I don't want to watch it, please. Well, my question, having seen that and heard what she said, my question out of curiosity would be, what most causes you to not want to watch this? I mean, it's just a curious question. Maybe it'll get me somewhere, maybe it'll get me nowhere, but it isn't arguing with her. And just as everybody else has said, they are just arguing with her. They're literally putting forward what they have as evidence, good evidence, yeah? And then she's responding, and then they're arguing with her response. And so everyone's getting frustrated, as far as I can see. Everybody's getting frustrated. They talk over each other. They all talk over each other. She ends up standing up and helping out. At that point, I would go, she's in control now. It's like, I'm almost on her side going, take it. Take this one. Why not? Why not take this one? Like, you've got this one now. He's there. He's exhaling. It's clear indicators of his frustration or boredom, or I think both, upset with it. The female interviewer is mirroring and escalating her tone. So not only is it argumentative, but she's taking the same tone as the subject, and then they're escalating each other, and the male just continues to get kind of irritated and restless. And just as you were saying right up the front, Scott, right here is my last note. I've got, who is in control here? Who's in control here? Like, nobody's in control apart from the subject, I think, who is in the most control there, but then kind of gives it up because I don't think she quite knows how to take control of this moment. I would. I think I'd have said, well, I'll be going now, and give me a call when you've sorted out your tech and stuff and you got your shit together. I'd have been out of there.
Wow, Mark cusses. Wow. Wow, that's a first.
It's that bad. It's that
2.5 years, and there it is. Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, if you don't know who we are, we're the Behavior Panel, and I'm Scott Rouse. I'm a body language expert and analyst, and I train law enforcement in the military in interrogation and body language.
You gonna try it
The
again?
#1 online body language course, Body Language Tactics, with Greg Hartley. Mark?
I'm Mark Bowden. I'm an expert in human behavior and body language, help people all over the world to stand out, win trust, and gain credibility every time they communicate, including some of the leaders of the G7. Chase.
Hey, I'm Chase Hughes. I did 20 years in the U.S. military, wrote the #1 best-selling book on behavior profiling, persuasion, and influence, and I change people's lives teaching those things today. Greg.
Greg Hartley. I'm a former Army interrogator, interrogation instructor, resistance to interrogation instructor. Written 10 books on body language and behavior, and put together that #1 body language course at bodylanguagetactics.com with Scott Rouse.
Mark said it.
And hi, I'm Jenny. I love true crime and coffee. And mom nuts on top of my head. Sorry. I felt like I had to do that because my face is like right here. And it's as big as everybody else's. I feel like I was part of the panel for a minute there. Sorry.
Yeah, this is some of the worst I've ever seen. You know what I wonder? Do they think this video is enough? They don't need her to say anything.
I thought about that too.
Yes.
I thought about that too, and I thought, man,
That is my point. Now let's see what they have to say, because I totally feel like they have the video. They have everything they need.
Why would they
they're
bother is
going for-
exactly what.
maybe they're trying to go for the "I did it on purpose" thing, but they can't because They have a goal, but they don't know how to get there.
No,
And not
it's
to get-
just a show.
There's not enough conspiracy between them. There's not enough. They're not
There's
breathing
nothing
together. They're
between
not
them.
a
No,
partnership.
no,
they're
no,
all over
no.
the shop. I mean, if you and I went, if any of us went, hey, let's go in, but let's really mess this one up, we'd be doing it together. We'd be like,
Exactly.
a great performance
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like,
If you're
it would be the
bungling
greatest
intentionally,
ever, failure of a computer, that
Yeah.
would cause a reaction. Like this is just.
Oh, thank you, Gail. I
it's
love
a
you.
show. That's how
Yeah, they just don't know what. Look, I can tell they don't know what they're doing. It's that part's very clear because they don't know
Judge Jim.
anything about the psychology part of it, any approaches, no structure to the interrogation, no questioning.
Last time we talked to you, you had said that you put him in the suitcase, he had two fingers hanging out, and you
I
went to
flipped him
that.
over. I flipped him over, and that's where it was.
And there's two different videos and a still picture where, yeah, it shows you flipping him in different positions, and him saying that he can't breathe, and you saying,
This is upside down. So in order for him to have gotten into it,
It was flipped up.
right, it was flipped up normal.
Yes.
Like as if you're packing something. So this is upside down.
Guys, this is killing me right now.
So this image is upside down, and then this small video that
She said
occurred
that this is killing me
11
again.
minutes later, it's flipped over the other way,
Mm.
closer to your dining room table.
If even, Rogue,
Now,
like
he's
I'm
obviously
one,
still in
like
there. So he didn't. How did it go from the back to the front?
I
you know,
flipped it.
without the video, I don't know that they could have. I mean, I'm sure that they could have got to manslaughter, but I don't know. I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know what would have happened without that video. You know?
Okay.
My plan was not to go upstairs and go to sleep,
My plan.
Well, that's what you did.
yeah.
but not intentional though.
No, you told me you went upstairs because
Look,
you were
Stop
getting
here.
ready for bed.
stopped here.
Okay, but
Where's here?
show me where you can see any fingers coming out, because there's the end.
It's, and his head's right here.
Mm-hmm.
So going like this, rather than going all the way up, it's like this.
Right, Gail?
But why is he saying I can't breathe?
That's what
and
Steph
why
said,
is he
too.
pushing on it as if he can't get out?
And it doesn't show a hole.
There's no hole. There's no fingers. I don't see his fingers. There's no hole.
I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like, I don't know, like, what you want me to tell you.
I'm just showing you. I'm just telling you what we see.
And two, another thing that I've thought about is, say, from inside of that suitcase, because obviously inside the suitcase it's dark, right? But if she had left a hole big enough for him to put fingers through to unzip himself, well, I guess that really depends on which corner it would have been in, right? Because if he would have been facing one side, would he have been able, I mean, would he have been able to have gotten a finger to the hole to, like, slide it around? You know what I'm saying? But I'm just thinking, if he's in there and there is literally a hole to put two fingers through, would he have been able to have seen, like, the light? You know what I mean? Like, he would have been able to have seen the hole because he would have seen a crack of light from inside the apartment in the room. Nicholas says the gaslighting just isn't working. I don't think he could even move his arms because he was so compressed to begin with. Rogue says she keeps saying in the body cam footage outside her house she wants to go inside for her Dr. Pepper. I think she wanted to go inside to delete everything from her phone. Ooh. She should have done that before she called the cops. I'm getting ready to sneeze. Hold on, guys. Okay, I'm back. All right, let's continue.
and what we've heard from the
I
other video.
understand. I understand.
Hey, Susan.
He's begging for you to let him out. You're laughing in the beginning, and then in the end, it sounds kind of like a...
No, it's not malicious.
Well, same,
It's not malicious.
then what is that?
What is you mean to you?
Well,
Like if I were to tell my
like he
partner...
does. Like,
Thank you,
I
Rogue.
get told everything but a white woman, so
Okay.
my intention was not to leave him in there. Please understand that. My intention was not to leave him in there.
But you went upstairs thinking that he could get himself
Yes.
out, but the video shows...
That's
At
what I
no
told
point
you.
can I see his fingers, and
He'll be
it
up
looks
here any
like...
minute.
And then 30 minutes later, he didn't show.
And he's telling you,
And I
he
didn't
can't
wake
breathe.
up.
Do you
He's
think
not able
he's
to get
joking? You told me he was laughing, and
We were
the
before.
video, there's no
When we
laughing.
first got in there, both of us were.
So how long was he in there for? Like, this video is at 11:12 when it starts, so was he in there for like a long time prior to you recording this?
No. No.
So it goes from funny to no longer funny,
But
and
I
you're the
didn't-
only one laughing.
But I didn't think that he was, like, panicky. Like,
So pushing up on a suitcase saying, Sarah, Sarah, Sarah,
I can't
I
breathe.
can't breathe.
George has done that in the past before, too, where it's just like he thinks that he's woe is me kind of thing, where it's like, I
Well,
don't
he's
think-
never been locked in a suitcase, that's
No.
where he couldn't get out, so.
It's kind of, I thought it was
And
the
you know
boy
the oxygen
crying
is
wolf,
something.
crying wolf kind of thing.
Okay.
And again, my plan.
But nowhere in there is he laughing, is he joking, he is begging. And you're the only one laughing,
Okay.
and you're the only one saying derogatory comments, like you're mad.
No. Please don't, I don't mean to sound negative, and I don't know if I can say this, but, like, it's like you guys are kind of trying to, like, feed me. Like,
No, I'm just trying to show you a video that you no longer want to watch because you probably don't want to know the outcome of how and what you said.
well, I know what,
You know what's on that video now?
No.
You remember making that video?
oh,
Why don't you remember making the video?
probably because we had been drinking.
But you weren't drunk.
I love this
Just because I
part.
went upstairs and, just
You
because
told
you're
us-
drunk doesn't mean
You
that
told us
you,
several times that you were not drunk. You said that you had your wits about you. You said he had his wits about you.
Mhm.
You said that you don't like not having your wits. In my experience, if somebody cannot remember doing something to the extent of making 2 videos and a video and taking a photo, they are intoxicated.
okay. I understand where you all are coming from.
Well,
I
we're
get
just
it.
trying to make sense of it. We're trying to
get it.
figure out
We're
what
trying
you're
to figure
saying.
out.
Chase, what do you got?
This precisely right here is where knowing behavior comes in handy. The interviewers are trying to do their best, I think, but I think they're making what I call the academic folly. They're treating everyone as if they all respond to the exact same thing. And the reason this is so different from other interrogations you've seen is that in many of the other videos, the interrogators needed confessions and admissions to both place the suspect at the scene to begin with, and then to get them to admit some form of involvement. We have those two things known, so maybe they had some level of training and they thought that they could kind of skip forward in the process. I'm not sure what was going on. But every point of resistance you're seeing here, every single point could have been prevented by knowing just a tiny bit about behavior profile I put together in the previous video based on a 29-second clip of her talking to a police officer. All of that could have
Right,
been prevented
Nicholas?
by just knowing that 29 seconds of time. Greg?
You could tell by her speech in her video that she took on the phone. You can tell by her speech that she was schmammered.
Yeah, let me tell you this. I don't think you even need to be that smart to get this one, Chase. I think what has to happen is you just need to listen to what she's saying. And she's feeding you exactly the story. She's spoon feeding them the elements of getting her to talk. Because what she says out loud
100%.
was, they just don't use it. He's abusive. He's all the time up for fun things. He fakes neediness. It sounds like he got in there voluntarily. Then he panicked or fakes panic. And easily I would say, did you feel powerful because he'd always been rough with you? Yeah, I did. And then You thought he would be able to escape because you left him a little gap. Yep. And I would give her the point where she said, I went upstairs, and then I went to bed and I didn't think about it. And I would then close the loop and come back and say, if that's the case, why were you so concerned about going upstairs in the beginning? You said it wasn't part of your plan. You can't have it both ways. You didn't leave him an air gap and then go upstairs and that not be part of your plan. You've got an issue here. Now, I could force her into a corner where she has to come out swinging and give me something. I don't think she is smart enough to do that. And I think you could put her at odds with herself. When she's assaulted with that, you're the only one piece, I thought she was going to go back and say, I need a lawyer, because she started to back off pretty hard right there. She threw up both hands and said, that's not how it went. I think you guys are trying to feed me. My God, if you've ever been in a place where a person's giving you the information you need to break her, but they don't. The guy steps on her and says, no, he's got a plan and he's going to stick to that plan. In the Army, we have goes and no-goes at stations, meaning you pass this station. You guys are a no-go. This is a no-go all day, every day. Mark, what do you got?
Hey, Michelle. Good to see you, girlie.
Everybody's confounded. Everybody's irritated. Everybody's confused until the subject says,
Good to see you, Michelle. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well today. I hope your coffee is strong today. All you guys, if you drink coffee, I hope your coffee is nice and strong today.
I see where you're coming from. She's a better interviewer than they are. She's like, I see where you're coming from. I get it. I get it. So she's started to build the bridge towards them. But what do? Well, he says, well, we're just trying to, and then continues, and they both pile on top of that. She accepts. She
Pepsi
agrees.
number 4.
I see where you're coming from. I get it. I get it. Well, we're just trying to, and then they pile on instead of what they could do at this point to become maybe a go, which would be to say,
You and Morgana, I don't know if Morgana's in here or not, but you and Morgana are in good company with each other because she's a Pepsi drinker too. Oh, Kel said, oops, here's your other L, Michelle. Yeah, we have one Michelle with 2 L's and another Michelle with 1 L in here. So, in the chat. Funny.
thank you. Thanks for that. I'm sorry we've had to argue about this. Let's start again, start afresh, clean slate, take us through it. What happened from the start? It'd be a great time to just reset. Now she's trying to make agreement. I think she's trying to make agreement because it's chaos there and she's under stress and she needs to know somebody's in control. Somebody's calling this one. So she's going to start calling it and creating the concord and the agreement. Scott, what do you got on this one?
The fact that this detective has his phone out and is texting or returning emails is bananas. I've never seen that before, never heard of that before. And the further this interrogation goes, the more it becomes like that meme where those 2 women are sitting at a table and there's a cat on the other side and they're yelling at the cat. That's what this is starting to remind me of. It's just, there's.
Okay, so see, there you go. It's Orange County. Okay. So that has to be a big police department or sheriff's department. I don't know if it's a county, like sheriff's department, or if it's I'm assuming sheriff's department if it's OC County, but or OC in Florida. But my point is you would think that their detectives would be pretty good. But these dudes are calling them out left, right, and center for the mistakes that they see. And as far as the guy checking his phone, sending texts and checking emails or replying to emails or whatever, I mean, I've seen interrogators, I've seen them do that during interrogations. And usually it's in reply to, a lot of times I would assume it's in reply to the situation with Sarah, with the person they're questioning, right? Like, you know, you heard people say, oh, I just got information that blah, blah, blah. We just heard from blah, blah, blah. And they say that blah, blah, blah. Hey, P. Lola, welcome back. Made it. Hello, hello. Michelle with 1L says, back for 10 in between clients. Yay. Michelle said, I think it makes Sarah freak out and talk more. Right, right. Rogue says, and Sarah is so paranoid, she thinks the texting is about her. Yeah.
There's no reason for this. This is, I
Because
keep saying the same
everything
thing,
is
but
about
nobody's
her.
in charge. Nobody's in control here. She's answering the questions they're asking her. She's answering them. She's told them about 40 times, this wasn't an accident. She's saying, yeah, I did it, but it wasn't an accident. And they're not doing anything about it. It's, oh, okay, yeah. And it gets back to texting. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'll leave it there.
Both of us were.
So how long was he in there for? Like, this video is at 11:12 when it starts, so was he in there for like a long time prior to recording this?
No. No.
So it goes from funny to no longer funny,
But
and
I
you're the
didn't-
only one laughing.
But I didn't think that he was.
That's sweet, Michelle. I appreciate that. And we're growing. We're growing. Our channel's growing. We're near 600. We're closing in on the 600 number, which is very exciting. Thank you. P. Lola said, how's your daughter feeling? Sent prayers her way last evening. Thank you so much for that. I was explaining early on in the video that I ended up taking her back to the doctor yesterday because they wanted to see her just in case. And they said that she is, it was just leftover junk from where she had the ear infection. So took her back this morning to school and she cried, didn't want to go into the building, but they got her in the building and got a message from her teacher a while ago that said that she's in a much better mood. So yay for that. Thank you, Nicholas. I appreciate that. I appreciate the subscription very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Very sweet. Very sweet. Michelle said, good, glad to hear that she's nowhere. No, she actually felt pretty decent. She slept really good, too. She'd been coughing so much during the night that she can't sleep really good. But last night she slept pretty decent. I didn't hear much coughing, so. She coughed a little bit this morning, but I can tell she felt better, so. She did want to be home with Mama. Yeah. She did that whole stretched her arms out when the girl was like carrying her off, you know. She stretched her arms out, was saying, Mom. And it was like, no, I don't want to, no. It broke my heart. So I actually sat in the parking lot for about 10 minutes waiting in case they called. You know, I didn't want to get 10 minutes up the road and them call and be like, you're going to have to come get her. So I did, Michelle. I did send her to school. I sent her little heifer hind end to school. I did.
Was, like, panicky. Like,
So pushing up on a suitcase saying, Sarah, 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 I can't breathe.
George has done that in the past before, too, where it's just like he thinks that he's woe is me kind of thing, where it's like, I don't
He's
think-
never been locked in a suitcase, that's
No.
where he couldn't get out, so.
It's kind of, I thought it was
And
the
you know
boy
the oxygen
crying
is
wolf,
coming.
crying wolf kind of thing.
Okay.
And again, my plan.
But nowhere in there is he laughing, is he joking, he is begging. And you're the only one laughing,
Okay.
and you're the only one saying derogatory
Thanks, Susan.
comments, like you're mad.
No. Please don't, I don't mean to sound negative, and I don't know if I can say this, but, like, it's like you guys are kind of trying to, like, feed me. Like,
No, I'm just trying to show you a video that you no longer want to watch because you probably don't want to know the outcome of how and what you said.
well, I know what,
You know what's on that video now?
No.
You remember making that video?
oh,
Why don't you remember making the video?
probably because we had been drinking.
But you weren't drunk.
No. Just because I went upstairs and, just
You
because
told
you're
us-
drunk doesn't mean
You
that
told us
you,
several times that you were not drunk. You said that you had your wits about you. You said he had his wits about you.
mhm.
You said that you don't like not having your wits. In my experience, if somebody cannot remember doing something to the extent of making 2 videos and taking a photo, they are intoxicated.
Okay, I understand where you all are coming from.
Well,
I
we're
get
just
it.
trying to make sense of it. We're trying to
get it.
figure out
We're
what
trying
you're
to figure
saying.
out,
I understand where you all are coming from.
Well,
I
we're
get
just
it.
trying to make sense of it. We're trying to
get it.
figure out
we're
what
trying
you're
to
saying.
figure out this
You
video.
explain it to us. We're listening.
I just did, like, we were playing, and then, like, I thought it was, my plan was not to go upstairs and go to sleep. My plan was not to, he'll be up here any minute.
Oh, did I
You
miss it,
willingly
Nicholas?
went upstairs
Hold
and
on.
went to sleep. No one forced you to go upstairs and get
My
ready
plan
for
wasn't
bed.
also to leave him in the suitcase.
Let me rewind it again real quick. Susan said, I miss those days with my children. Now I've got 6 grands, 23 to 3 years old. Oh, sweet. There it is. That's the part I was referencing earlier. Okay, so should I rewind it back like a minute, 30 seconds, or tell me, Nicholas? Because I turned my camera off for a second because I had to check a voicemail. I wanted to make sure it wasn't accidentally the school calling and I missed the call or something. Oh, the buzzed means drunk part. Okay, sorry. I thought you meant the other part about what you said earlier about oh, what you said earlier about the part where he asks a question and then Chelsea interrupts with her own whatever. That's what part I thought you were talking about. Yeah, Nicholas, that's what I thought you meant was the 5 minutes for what part. Okay, I'll rewind it a hair smidge, a hair dab.
It's kind of, I thought it was
And
the
you know
boy
the oxygen
crying
is
wolf,
coming.
crying wolf kind of
Okay,
thing.
that's coming up.
And
Okay.
again, my
But,
plan,
but nowhere in there is he laughing, is he joking, he is begging. And you're the only one laughing,
okay,
and you're the only one saying derogatory comments, like you're mad.
no. Please don't, I don't mean to sound negative, and I don't know if I can say this, but, like, it's like you guys are kind of trying to, like, feed me. Like,
No, I'm just trying to show you a video that you no longer want to watch because you probably don't want to know the outcome of how and what you said.
well, I know what,
You know what's on that video now?
No.
You remember making that video?
oh,
Why don't you remember making the video?
probably because we had been drinking.
But you weren't drunk.
No. Just because I went upstairs and, just
You
because
told
you're
us-
drunk doesn't mean
You
that
told us
you,
several times that you were not drunk. You said that you had your wits about you. You said he had his wits about you.
mhm.
You said that you don't like not having your wits. In my experience, if somebody cannot remember doing something to the extent of making 2 videos and taking a photo, they are intoxicated.
Okay, I understand where you all are coming from.
Well,
I
we're
get
just
it.
trying to make sense of it. We're trying to
get it.
figure out
We're
what you're
trying to figure
saying.
out,
I understand where you all are coming from.
Well,
I
we're
get
just
it.
trying to make sense of it. We're trying to
get it.
figure out
we're
what
trying
you're
to
saying.
figure out this
You
video.
explain it to us. We're listening.
I just did, like, we were playing, and then, like, I thought it was, my plan was not to go upstairs and go to sleep. My plan was not to, he'll be up here any minute.
But
But
you
again-
willingly went upstairs and went to sleep. No one forced you to go upstairs and
My
get ready
plan
for
wasn't
bed.
also to leave him in the suitcase,
So why didn't you take him out?
because I went upstairs, and then I fell asleep.
But why didn't you consciously think, he's asking to come out, he
I
can't
didn't do it
breathe.
intentionally.
What do you think is gonna happen if you leave somebody in a confined space like that?
Well, I thought by not zipping it up all the way, it would be okay. My plan was not to leave him in the
And what was
suitcase,
your plan?
waiting for him to come upstairs.
And then when he didn't?
I fell asleep.
You said you were up there 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, somebody not coming up.
Knowing that the last time you saw him was in the suitcase, 30 minutes later, you're like, maybe I should go check on him, maybe I shouldn't?
No.
Well, that didn't cross your mind because
That's
it
like
didn't happen.
that's like an assumption. Like, that's what you all are thinking. Just,
We're asking.
it's the
You
whole,
tell us.
it's the drinking. That's what it is. It's the drinking. I thought it was like, I thought he was okay. Like, I didn't, that, you
He's
all.
telling you he's not. He's telling you.
So that's the part that drives me crazy is we split a bottle of wine. I wasn't drunk. And now it's the drinking. Susan says she's trying so hard to talk herself out of this, thinks that she can convince them not to believe what they're seeing, right? 100% trying to, I mean, you want to talk about gaslighting? Like, there should be a picture of her. There should be several pictures of her besides several different words in the dictionary, but gaslighting is one. Nicholas is exactly Susan, as if she can explain her way out of everything. Right. Is she trying to say it's the drinking, meaning he died because he was drunk? I mean, she could be, but I took it as she went upstairs, like she didn't intend to just lay down and go to sleep. Now she's saying, in my opinion, that, now she's blaming it on the alcohol. Maybe she's blaming the alcohol on him dying and the reason why she, went to sleep.
Sarah, I can't breathe. He's saying your name and you're like, that's my name, don't wear it out.
Guys, that's how we are with each other. Like, nobody understands our relationship. This whole suitcase thing never happened before.
Would you leave someone else in a suitcase?
All right, Mark, what do you got?
Yeah. So look, her strategy, I think, is that to put forward that it isn't premeditated in any way, and either that's because she understands something of the law
Yeah.
and something of
Right, Rogue. There's no way to prove that. There's no way to prove that. The only way that you could prove that is if, like someone had mentioned in here yesterday, I can't remember who it was, but someone, I don't remember who it was, said that, wonder if they'll have a suitcase expert or a zipper expert. And so I wonder, is there potentially something with the zipper where, it gets stuck and won't go past a certain spot? And so it would leave a, spot big enough for him to be able to unzip his way out? Or what? I mean, that would be the only way that you could, seamstress, P. Lola said seamstress. That would be the only way that you could prove anything. But even then, it wouldn't be like 100%, because y'all know just as well as I do. One time you can zip something all the way and the next time you can't. It depends on if there's a piece of thread in the way, for instance. But if there is potentially something wrong with the zipper, like if it has something that keeps it where it won't zip all the way every single time, then, but I don't know. Let me see. Yeah, oh yeah, Nicholas, that suitcase will definitely be in court. Yeah, 100%. Mm-hmm. Right, Susan. How could he even move to see or reach the zipper? So I was thinking there was depending on where his hands were at, and which way he was facing, whether he was facing the back of the suitcase or the front of the suitcase, you know, because it would be like if his hands were up, which I don't know how he was positioned. Were his hands like crossed in front of him? Were they up, like, up towards his head? Would he have been able to, like, get to the hole, or would the hole have been down towards his feet? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Lots of questions, though, right? Wouldn't surprise me if they brought the suitcase in. They brought the door to the Susan Lorenz trial. Did they bring that door? Wow. I still have to go back and catch that trial, and I want to watch the Sean Finnegan one, which I've been seeing like lots of spoilers for how that ended today in the last part of that. But anyway, yeah, I want to go back and watch those. Thank you, Henny. Yeah, I would love it if you guys would consider giving the video a thumbs up. We would love it here. Those thumbs ups really do help kind of let YouTube know to show it. When you give the video a thumbs up, it kind of lets YouTube know to, hey, let's put this out in front of some other people that may not have seen this channel yet. So thank you. I appreciate that. Steph says, Gail, we think alike more often than you would like to admit. Is what you mean? You cracked me up. Hey, Patricia, if they were getting rid of it, it probably wasn't in good repair anyway. True. The next thing will be Sarah suing Samsonite. Oh my God. Right. Work on that resume, girl. Work on that resume. Michelle, Margaret, if Margaret's still in the chat right now, Margaret, we have another question about how you did on your interview. I'll let her say, just in case she's in here. If you don't hear back from her here in a couple, oh, there she is. She said, no, she ain't. Sure. Yeah, and Steph needs everybody to invite their single male friends. Yeah. All right. Let's get back to this.
Of what she could get convicted on and what the sentence would be, or she just knows that that's a better idea.
Dumb and dumber.
To say that she's involved, obviously, but it's an accident and there is no forethought around it. Premeditated murder is obviously as pretty much as strong as you can get.
That's our girl.
But the male is always showing disagreement, pursed lips, clear pursed lips as well.
That's our girl. I'll tell you what. Here. Let me, hold on a minute. Let me go find it. Yeah. Let's throw a little bit of glitter to Margaret. I still have to find the little fairy bell sounding sound clip to put with this GIF with the glitter. I love this. But there you go, Margaret. There's a little bit of celebratory glitter. Just throw it everywhere. I love him so much. I can't wait to hear back from. I can't wait to hear the update when you hear back from them, is what I mean. Yeah, congratulations. Samsonite, I was way off. How did you spell it? Where did it go? shoot. Oh, wait. Samsonite, I was way off. Was that the from the movie Dumb and Dumber? Sorry. Sometimes it takes my brain a second to for the wires to connect. I don't know what else to say. P. Lola's mom says, Patricia, there will be Samsonite duffel bag manufacturer, you mean? She insists the suitcase was fine and he could have gotten out. She needs to get in it and prove someone can get out. Uh-huh. Yeah, you go, girl. You go, girl. Fingers and toes crossed. Yes. Got it right. Yeah. Finally, it took me a minute. I got it, though. Jim Carrey. He's something else. Ooh, Michelle's itching to cut all of her hair off. You know what? I'm getting ready. I'm not too far behind you there, ma'am. I'm getting ready to cut mine, too.
To show disagreement, closed and protective. This is not great body language. I mean, it could be a tactic, but I think by this point we know it's not. It's his demeanor. It's his demeanor within this. He's closed. Now, what's this turning into? Well, they're never entering into her idea. You don't have to agree with the world that she's in, but you've got to accept that that's her world. And if you know she's lying, just accept that world for a bit to get in there with her. They're trying to undo that world from outside. They're trying to show evidence and go, well, whatever you're saying doesn't fit with this outside idea. What I would suggest they should be doing is getting inside the world and dismantling it from within, from a sense of agreement, from a sense of accord, and just unpicking it from inside rather than outside. So they're being judgmental. They make judgment calls. They're being moral with her. They're kind of going, well, you know, why would you do that? You know, well, that's not the right thing to do. Well, that's just judgment and morals. And also they're attacking the norms of relationship. She puts a norm forward that says, hey, you know, it's kind of a thing you do is to stick somebody in a suitcase and kind of play around with that. Well, look, it may not be a norm for me or a norm for you, but you've got to get an acceptance of that norm to be able to unpick it from the outside. They're arguing the idea. It's going nowhere good. Scott, what do you got on this one?
All right. He says, you explain it to us. We're listening. And then he looks down at his phone and doesn't pay attention to her anymore. And then she's still in protective mode. Like you're saying, she's got her arms really close to her body, all that. It's staying with her baseline of the behaviors we've seen up to this point. And again, the guy detective looks like he's the one being questioned. He's sitting back in his chair. He's got his arms crossed. He's moving around. He looks nervous. He's touching his face, everything else. He's adapting with his hands. Everything. He looks like he's the one in trouble. Then out of nowhere, she says, because when I went upstairs and then I fell asleep, his open-handed gesture comes out when hers does, out of nowhere. And he says nothing. And he's just distracting at this point. He's just, I don't know what this guy's doing at this point. Then she says, I didn't do it intentionally. Boom, there it is again. We're done. All you got to do is move forward from that point and say, okay, well, shoot, let's talk about that. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. Then he says, so what do you think is going to happen if you leave someone in a confined space like that? He's not even listening. At that point, he's not listening. He's not even looking at her. And I don't think he knows what's going on. And I agree with you, Chase. A lot of detectives haven't had training, but this isn't good because somebody may go to prison that doesn't need to go to prison.
Just a quick little side note earlier when I mentioned that little autistic boy, Zach Walker. I saw that on JLR Investigates, and he said he updated the video about 5 minutes ago, and says, terrible news, 7-year-old Zach Walker was found dead near a pond. That's heartbreaking. God. Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. So, yeah. I don't know all the details, but let's just, keep that little boy's, family, friends, neighbors, everyone in your thoughts and prayers. That's gut wrenching.
Because these people will get it wrong. They'll push them into it and won't realize they're seeing a false confession. And this worries me. This worries me. They need to call somebody and get some help down there in Florida quick. Greg, what do you got?
Okay, what is going on here? I'm really confused. Apparently, hold on, let me rewind this because
Hey, it's Dr. Phil here. Please subscribe to the Behavior Panel.
Thanks.
Got
It's
him.
funny. You wouldn't have gotten me, but I covered it up.
They are so full of jokes today. They are full of it today. They are full of it. So yeah, they were making fun of him. I see that now. Greg was muted and talking, and they were just like letting him just go right on with it, weren't they? I was like, wait a minute. Oh, that's the brightest shade I've ever seen, LOL. Susan, I don't know. I don't know if I haven't heard anything about that little baby. So I don't know if it was just like they said he was found near a pond. So I don't know, if I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was accidental or what, I have no clue, but hopefully we'll get some news soon. It's so sad. Let me show his picture here. This was from, like I said, from JLR. So you can see the little baby's picture here. He's holding up with his phone. That's him. He looks younger than 7 there, though. So I don't know if that's just an older picture or what, but... Hi, Andrea Tupin. I don't believe you can unzip from inside with pull tag outside. She did not care to make sure he was okay. That's a fact. She did not care to make sure that he was good at all. As a matter of fact, she's like, now you know how it feels. That's my name. Don't wear it out. And then there was some nonsense that she said that couldn't even make heads or tails out of what she said. She was so drunk. So rude of them jokesters, right, Patricia? They're full of something, all right. Elopement. It very well could have been, because there's a lot of kids with autism, not just autism, but especially with autism, that tend to want to do that. Yeah, right. You can tell these guys are really good friends. Yeah, I like JLR too. I like me some JLR. He's very entertaining. Okay.
When I was reading all this,
I'm going to rewind it though, because I want to hear, I want to watch that part back.
I was
Because these people will get it wrong. They'll push them into it and won't realize they're seeing a false confession. And this worries me. This worries me. They need to call somebody and get some help down there in Florida, quick. Greg, what do you got?
So Mark starts it off with like, and then Chase and Scott sort of like continue on with the charade
Hey,
as
it's
well.
Dr. Phil here. Please subscribe to the behavior panel.
Thanks.
Did you see Mark go like he was agreeing? Definitely good at acting like they could hear him. That's so funny.
Got
It's
him.
funny. You wouldn't have gotten me, but I covered it up when I was reading all this from the statute.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
thanks. Okay, here you go. Let's see if I can go
Okay.
find it. It'll take me again a second now. All right,
Man,
you guys got
that's
me
a
this
good
time. Yeah, so there really are. Just hold on. Now you got to wait for me. Sorry.
Yeah, we got it. Got all the time in the world.
All right, go ahead.
Not
Okay,
really.
so
Not
state
really, Greg.
courts have ruled that this is murder too, a killing that was the result of ill will, hatred, spite, or evil intent, an act of a person that a person of ordinary judgment would know is reasonably certain to kill or cause seriously bodily injury, or an act showing indifference to human life. Well, it sure feels like they're trying to force her to say, I knew it would kill him and I made a mistake, or whatever, because intent is there then. That's all they have to do. Maybe that's what they're after, is an element they're trying to close the loop on. But look, the one thing I firmly disagree is when he says, we're listening. No, you're not listening. He gets right one thing. He does one thing. He mirrors her. And it actually makes sense. She goes, what am I to do? And he's like, that kind of thing. He throws his hands out again. They miss a great lead. There's the word plan. I would lean in and say, Sarah, what was your plan? Was this a way to show him how powerless you feel when he was in that suitcase and something went wrong? Give her the opportunity. Give her the out. Give her.
They did ask her. I remember specifically, he said, well, what was your plan? When she said that wasn't the plan. And he's like, well, what was your plan? And she said, for him to come upstairs after a little bit of time, I remembered like specifically a while ago listening for if he asks her that question, I don't know. These guys are being tough today.
Her rationalization. Instead, it goes back to one more of this argument and circular logic. She now says her plan was to go upstairs and wait for him. Wait a minute. If we go all the way back to what I told you in the very beginning, and we say, I didn't go upstairs intentionally, I left an air gap because I knew it was not safe. Now you're telling me you went upstairs and that was in your plan and you're going to wait for him. Now you just admitted to me that you put him in bodily harm and you caused element 3 of that law. Now you got him. But now they allow her to have a chance. She set up the alcohol day 1. That's a rescuer. She's been saying I only had 1 bottle of alcohol between the two of us, and now she's changing that. She does helplessness, and she looks at each of them with good intent. She signals the regulators, and she says, I thought he was okay. There's a lot of control there, and they go back at her instead of eliciting and challenge her again. If you just would pay a little bit of attention, you would get somewhere. Instead, this detective, instead of saying, what do you think would happen, forgets everything the woman's saying and jumps right on her and says, would you leave someone else in the suitcase? Altercation again. I think what they're trying to do is push them to that third element. But if you look at every one of these videos we've shown, each of those is a standalone. There's no sequitur between these pieces. If you look at this one, it's an argument. The first one's an argument. The second one's an argument. There's no power to it. That's all I got. Who did I forget?
Chase.
Chase, what do you got?
Yeah, I'll be quick here. This assault on her character is what's causing this resistance. And you already know that because of the behavior profile. So how would you have used that behavior profile? I'm curious to know what you would have done at home. Let us know in the comments. We'll take a look. So What could have been done here is to demonize or shift the blame to the victim. This sounds horrible. It sounds atrocious, but it's extremely effective in getting guilty people to confess. In many cases, just like this one, thousands of confessions were obtained by guilty people by blaming the victim for the crime initially. And this is called projection in many, many cases. And this is a common tactic that has proven to be extremely effective. If they built a narrative focused on how she tried hard to take care of him, he's been abusive and mean and violent, etc., then the interrogator shifts to socializing, wherein they would start making it, these are her two things, right? So then they're going to start making it normal. They'd say something like, anybody would have done that. It's totally understandable. People are going to understand this. And that's why I came in here to help you. This would be especially effective just based on her profile that we developed in 29 seconds. So this is a formula for this behavioral type where projection leads.
What he just said totally made me think of Brian Koberger when he said that, trying to help you. The way he said that in my brain, I heard it as the way people heard supposedly the one girl, the one roommate said she heard someone say, "It's okay, I'm here to help you." Yeah, that's whenever he said that, that clicked in my brain. Michelle said she talked about wine drinking so much that I want a glass.
The way in the interrogation. So in some interrogations, you want to minimize, then socialize, and then rationalize. This one, you want to project the blame, socialize the actions that the person took, minimize the seriousness, rationalize the motive for taking action, and that would have probably cleaned the table. Even Scott was saying that she's pre-confession. She's kind of just ready the whole time. Get that out there. It looked like that would have been a short discussion, like an sub 45-minute interrogation. That's all I got.
What did I say, Greg? When we were talking, I said 45 minutes tops, and you said, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Yeah, you said 45 minutes tops, and I just said, look, this is a falling off a log easy. When 5 minutes into it, she's already starting to bleed.
Done.
But if it's
Okay, you guys, I'm going to have to leave very shortly, so I'm going to 1.25 this and try not to interrupt very much so we can get through it before I have to go pick up kiddo from school. So let me 1.25 it. 1.25. Here we go.
it's altered, I agree with you, Chase. That's not in her personality. You can't go headlong at her.
Yeah.
I understand where y'all are coming from.
Well, we're
I get
just trying to
it.
make sense of it. We're trying to figure out
We're
what
trying
you're
to figure
saying.
out this
You
video.
explain it to us. We're listening.
I just did. Like, we were playing, and then, like, I thought it was, my plan was not to go upstairs and go to sleep. My plan was not to, he'll be up here any minute.
But you
Yeah.
willingly went upstairs and went to sleep. No one forced you to go upstairs and
My
get ready
plan
for
wasn't
bed.
also to leave him in the suitcase,
So why didn't you take him out?
because I went upstairs, and then I fell asleep.
But why didn't you consciously think, he's asking to come out, he
I
can't
didn't do it
breathe.
intentionally.
What do you think is going to happen if you leave somebody in a confined space like that?
Well, I thought by not zipping it up all the way, it would be okay. My plan was not to leave him in the
And what was your
suitcase,
plan?
waiting for him to come upstairs.
And then when he did it?
I fell asleep.
You said you were up there 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, somebody not coming up.
Knowing that the last time you saw him
Have
was
a
in the
great
suitcase,
day,
30 minutes later, you're
Pilola.
like, maybe I should go check on him, maybe I shouldn't.
No.
Have a great day,
When you, that
friend.
didn't cross your mind because
That's
it
like,
didn't happen.
that's like an assumption. Like, that's what you all are thinking, just,
Thanks
We're
for
asking.
stopping
It's the
by
whole-
today.
it's the drinking. That's what it is. It's the drinking. I thought it was like, I thought he was okay. Like, I didn't, that, you
He's
all,
telling you he's not. He's telling you, Sarah, I can't breathe. He's saying your name, and you're like, that's my name, don't wear it out.
guys, that's how we are with each other. Like, he has, nobody understands our relationship. The whole suitcase thing never happened before.
Would you leave someone else in a suitcase? I think someone that knows nothing about this or hears just a little bit like, oh, they were playing around in a suitcase
She's been drinking
and then watches that
probably would
video.
sleep. That's what happened.
But you let him out before, I mean, you put him in, so why didn't you take him out?
Because I was upstairs and I fell asleep.
No, before you went upstairs. You like consciously had to walk upstairs. I mean, you obviously remember going to bed because you were able to give me a time frame on that. And you specifically told me that. that you
I
went
don't-
upstairs?
My intention is not for this to happen. I am sick about it. I've never done anything like this before in the past. I am sick, especially with that. I thought I couldn't sleep last night. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. You tell us the last night, you vividly remember this when you told us last night, that he was laughing, you were laughing, you put him in the suitcase, he has two fingers sticking out, and you go to bed. Now we see something totally different, and it actually shows you upset, and again, using derogatory terms to him when he's begging for his life to get out of that suitcase.
So,
what,
but my thing
you
is
say
that
we're
the-
assuming, we're not assuming,
But
we're
the
telling you
thing
with
is,
something.
so it just happened to be that whenever I was videotaping or doing whatever else it was, just happened to not have that in there.
Okay. And you, also in the video, you can't see any holes. There's nowhere in that where the zipper separates and you can see a hole. If there's a hole, he's pushing on it, begging you to get out. We should probably see that hole that
He
you're
eventually
talking
would have
about.
been able to get out.
Yeah.
Alcohol.
Based off what you're telling us, he should have been
Yeah.
able to get out.
Okay.
But the video shows him attempting to get
That
out,
wouldn't
begging to get
surprise
out,
me,
and he can't.
Andrea.
So that's just what we're trying to figure out. I don't know if maybe you
I
had too much to
could-
drink, you dipped it up all the way,
I could
and then,
see
you know,
that.
I did not zip it up all the way.
Okay, well,
I did not zip it up all the way.
Right, Michelle? Me either.
This is horrific, okay?
Horrific.
this is your
Horrific.
Horrific. I don't think I'll ever
3
be right
times.
because of this. Ever be right. Dealing with everything else that I have in my life, personally, and then this,
Okay.
whom I loved,
Whom?
it was not intentional. I will put my hand on the Bible. It was not intentional. I would not do that to him nor anyone else.
But you did.
Not intentional.
You intentionally went up to bed.
I didn't intentionally
left
go to
him.
bed because I'm thinking, okay,
Hold
good,
on,
he can
hold
get
on.
out.
How did you not intentionally go to bed? You said you went upstairs and got into bed. That's intentionally going to bed.
Waiting for him.
And he doesn't come, but you don't go down to check on him.
So I happen to go to sleep. When I say go to sleep,
And what do you
he goes
normally do
off,
when you go
whatever
to
you're
bed?
gonna do.
What do you normally do when you go to bed?
What do you mean?
What is a bed for? Going to sleep.
Right.
So you go to
But
bed to
obviously
do
you
what?
can tell too that, like, I'm
You go to
thinking
bed to do
also.
what? Okay.
All right, Mark, what do you got?
Yep. So the female interviewer, lint picking. Not up here. I'm just demonstrating it up here so you can see it. She's doing it on her trousers, her pants. A clear show of disinterest, which is very similar, Scott, I think, to the guy's previous show of disinterest by being into his phone. Again, no good reason for that. No good reason for lint picking. Even if you had stuff all over your pants, don't touch it. It's not important. So, you know, I've even got like tactic ? Because I was bemused by that. I was bemused as to whether they, you know, had a conversation outside. Should we do the lint picking route? Yeah, I'll do you do the phone thing. I'll do the lint picking, and she'll be done. She'll be done in
Right,
15
Rogue.
minutes if we do that. I just can't work out why they're doing it. She goes to victim. You know, what with everything that I've had in my life, they don't pick up on that. They don't pick up on that. You know, again, listen, watch, be curious. What do you mean by that? Would be a great question. Yeah, simple question. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? What exactly? What have you had in your life that's had the most impact? What are you talking about? You know, because then we, as Chase was saying, we could get into that stuff. Well, you know, he was beating me up, and okay, we could socialize that and accept that and have agreement with that. No, none of that going on. She goes for hand on the Bible, which is always a great indicator that no good is coming of it. And I loved him in past. Again, it's a day afterwards. You know, I would expect. I love him. You know, even of the deceased, I love him. Yeah. Anyway, not good at all. Greg, what do you think?
Yeah, she's congruent in her messaging when she says she'd been drinking and went to sleep. She goes back. Look, if you were paying attention, if you had a plan and you were setting a trap, you go all the way back to that beginning argument. Well, it wasn't in your plan to go upstairs. And why did that happen? Well, I went upstairs and I was waiting for it. We've seen a lot of anomalies, but we don't see any tie back to those interrogation steps. We see a lot of arguing right now. And for that reason, I think this woman sees it as an argument. I don't think she has any idea what kind of trouble she's in here, because she's arguing openly like you would in school, like you would argue with your friends and try to win. You don't win with an interrogator who knows what they're doing, because anything they
Sorry.
do that lets you win is about the next
That's
step.
my
and setting up.
alarm
It isn't happening
on my
here.
phone.
She
So
doesn't think she's in that
sorry.
much
I
trouble.
did
Her
not
open
mean to just
posture
scare
will tell you that.
everybody
She's
to
doing this.
death.
People close up when they
It
think that they're in
scared
trouble.
me to death.
They let her talk a minute, and she starts to say alcohol and then they step on her again.
Sorry,
And when that happens,
Margaret.
her body language goes to oppositional. She pushes back in the chair. Her hands and feet are folded. And then she does that thing about me, and her face actually shows some disdain for the interviewer here. It's just powerful when you see that powerful look in her face. And then she starts to try to tell you about her life. She's like, please feel sorry for me and help me to confess and tell you how this goes. But we don't do that. We
Yeah,
just
right,
go right
Michelle.
back at
I'm
it again.
so sorry.
And there we go.
I'm
We just,
so sorry.
At the end, she's
Margaret's
telling you
out
what
there
she
going,
believes and you're attacking her
Myers.
logic. Listen to, if you want to believe that, go and listen to what she does. She's in a downward telling tone, and,
And
the
Morgana, yeah.
detective is in an upward lilting voice as she's asking for approval. Really not a good place to be this late in an interrogation. Chase, what do you got?
Yep, just kind of copy paste whatever I said on the last
There she
video.
is.
You got a suspect that's desperate for acceptance, approval, and pity, and you're giving them the exact opposite of what they desire. It's a recipe for absolute and rapid failure. Mark?
I'm done. I've been.
Oh, yeah. Scott, sorry.
All right. All right. Yeah, I agree with you, Chase. It's the same stuff we've seen before. There's no reason to keep doing this whatsoever. And what should have happened if somebody's monitoring this? They should have stepped in and said, "Come here a minute, man. Let me talk to you a minute." Either one of those, and said, "Come here. Let's shut this down. This isn't where you. I don't know what you're doing. We're gonna get in trouble for this. You know, this isn't where you're just. It's just three people in a room fussing. That's all it is. I'll end mine there."
I think someone that knows nothing about this or hears just a little bit like, oh, they were playing around in a suitcase
She's been
and
drinking,
then watching
probably
that
was
video.
asleep. That's what happened.
But you let him out before. I mean, you put him in, so why didn't you take him out?
Because I was upstairs and I fell asleep.
No, before you went upstairs. You like consciously had to walk upstairs. I mean, you obviously remember going to bed because you remember giving me a time frame on that. And you specifically told me that you went upstairs.
My intention is not for this to happen. I am sick about it. I've never done anything like this before in the past. I'm sick. Especially with that. I thought I couldn't sleep last night. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. You tell us last night, you vividly remember this when you told us last night, that he was laughing, you were laughing, you put him in the suitcase, he has two fingers sticking out, and you go to bed. Now we see something totally different, and it actually shows you upset, and again, using derogatory terms to him when he's begging for his life to get out of that suitcase.
So
what,
but my thing
you
is
say
that
we're assuming, we're not assuming,
but
we're
the
telling
thing
you what's on there.
so it just happened to be that whenever I was videotaping or doing whatever else it was, just happened to not have that in it.
Okay. And you also, in the video, you can't see any holes. There's nowhere in that where the zipper separates and you can see a hole. If there's a hole, he's pushing on it, begging you to get out. We should probably see that hole that
He
you're
essentially
talking
would have
about.
been able to get out.
Alcohol.
Based off what you're telling us, he should have been able to get out.
Okay.
But the video shows him attempting to get out, begging to get out, and he can't. So that's just what we're trying to figure out. I don't know if maybe you had too much to drink, you zipped it up all the way, and then,
I did not zip it up all the way.
Okay, well,
I did not zip it up all the way. This is horrific, okay? Horrific.
it is terrible.
Yeah, so they-
Horrific. I don't think I'll ever be right because of this. Ever be right. Dealing with everything else that I have in my life, personally. And then this,
Okay.
whom I loved. It was not intentional. I will put my hand on the Bible. It was not intentional. I would not do that to him nor anyone else.
But you did.
Not intentional.
You intentionally went up to bed.
I didn't intentionally
left
go to
him.
bed because I'm thinking, okay, I can
Hold
get
on.
out.
How did you not intentionally go to bed? You said you went upstairs and got into bed. That's intentionally going to bed.
Waiting for him.
And he doesn't come, but you don't go down to check on him.
So I happen to go to sleep. When I say go to sleep,
And what do you
goes
normally do
off
when you go to
whatever
bed?
you're gonna do.
What do you normally do when you go to bed?
What do you mean?
What is a bed for? Going to sleep.
Right.
So you go to
But
bed to
obviously
do
you can
what?
tell too that, like, I've
You
been
go to
drinking
bed to do
also.
what? Okay.
Is that what you all are trying to do? To
We're not
portray me
trying
as?
to do anything. I'm simply asking you to explain to me what happened.
Everything was fine and dandy.
I don't call it
Everything.
fine and dandy.
Was fine and dandy.
Explain
You all
to me.
don't, okay, for me to tell you this, again, mind you, I've been without him for a day now.
Mhm.
I don't know, I mean, I don't know what you all want me to tell you, because this was not in any way, shape, or form, hand on the Bible, intentional.
Okay. So you just left
I
him there to
didn't
teach
kill
him.
him.
You left him there to teach him a lesson?
I didn't mean to leave him there. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
You got up and walked away. How is that not intentionally leaving him there?
Because I'm looking at the hole, knowing that it's there. He'll get out no problem. Because you
Then
don't,
he doesn't,
but
because you don't go check on him. You say you're up for 30 minutes, and he doesn't come up. You don't go down and check on him?
I'm in the bed.
You even moved,
And dozed off.
you admit to moving the suitcase, like, over, so.
You roll it.
You roll it out, like, it's not like,
I didn't want it to be like that. Don't,
you didn't want him to be upside down, how do you even get upside down?
all right. You guys are killing me right now.
I just want you to hear.
That's how he talks to me most of the time.
Tried her squirrel hands.
I don't know how you want me to say it.
I'm just trying to figure out what you would expect to happen to somebody when you leave them in a suitcase.
I didn't mean to leave him in there.
Okay.
Seriously.
What one was that? 12?
13.
13. Okay.
Okay. Chase, what do you got?
In this video, you can see every single stress marker that we've.
Well, and first of all, so Laura says, why didn't she lawyer up? Like Rogue said, because she's deluded enough to think that she could just talk her way out of it. So I don't know how familiar you are with this story, Laura, but she's burned through. I've heard 8 lawyers, and now she's defending herself pro se. So I don't know if you knew that already.
Spent all this time identifying and showing you here, appearing at the precise moments of having her character attack, at the precise moments, and just
Michelle.
10 minutes of training
Right.
in any, even a crappy body language course would have showed them these little stress markers. So these interviewers are doing the best they can, probably with the training that they have, maybe. And most departments do not invest in interrogation training very well.
Holy crap.
Sarah is
I
driven
know,
by how
right?
she's perceived by other people, and that's what's being attacked. I'm not suggesting the detectives here should have known that, but it's definitely visible to you now. And what I teach, there's 6 essential ways people are driven. We have significance, acceptance, approval, intelligence, pity, and power. And those are the 6 things that person desires from other human beings. This is how they need to feel and what they need to get confirmation of from other people. So Sarah is acceptance and pity right now. But keep in mind, they don't know this. So this is such a crystal clear warning
Right,
to
Rogue? I
everyone
know, it's
watching this.
weird.
Pay attention to behavior and communicate with some precision and not treat people as if they're all the same little molecules, like a science experiment, like an academic study would treat human beings. Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, if we go back and look at what she said way back when I was
And granted, not all of those attorneys like dipped out on their own. There were situations where something happened and they had to withdraw. Then there was situations where the lawyers did just be like, I'm out of here. And then other situations where, because of Sarah's behavior, they either left or she got rid of them on her own accord. And so, because she's burned through so many of them, now the judge basically is saying, because this is what's happening, you are literally giving up your rights to counsel by this behavior. And so finally he's like, okay, you're not going to get any counsel. You're going to have to be a pro se person. Do it yourself. Unless you want to hire someone. But she ain't got no money for that. So, what a waste of due process. She should just be sentenced. I agree. Yeah, she fired most. Hey, Chaloon. How are you, doll? I just meant she should have had a lawyer from the very beginning so they could be present in the interview. Yeah. And this isn't the first time she's been, there were instances where she was picked up before. So she knows. But, she knows how it works.
straight A student. Now we're talking 30 years later, 25 years later. That tells you a lot about something about this person. She said, look, I used to be somebody. I've
Guess
always
none of them
excelled
are
at
able to
everything
come
I've
up
done. I'm
with
a
a
great mother.
defense for that
To your
video,
point, Chase,
right?
she's screaming out, look, I'm this respectable person who did something stupid. If you can hear that and you can say, hey, everybody makes mistakes. Now you've got a different approach. Here's what's really interesting. Look at these big illustrators. She's wiping things away. Everything was this and everything was that. They don't even notice that. They don't hear. When she says fine and dandy, they attack the fine and dandy. She's giving them, if we skip everything else in this video and she goes, everything was fine and dandy, I didn't mean to. The rest of the interrogation that you've made, just shut up and go and say, what do you mean you didn't mean to? That's the interrogation right there, because that's what you're after, is her saying, I did something stupid that a normal human being should know will kill or injure somebody. That's the element of law you're trying to get. And she just told you, I did something stupid. I didn't mean to kill the guy. Scott, what do you got?
Yeah, he says, I'm simply asking you to explain what happened. Explain to me what happened. And she's done that about 40 times. She keeps saying she's not going to say anything other than that because that's what happened. She keeps telling him what happened over and over and over. But he was on his phone when she was saying all that. And now he's just badgering her. So, and
Even
like
if
saying,
you're
you got those
innocent
spread out
and you
arms.
know you're
And
innocent,
then
always have an
the woman
attorney.
detective, her phone dings. She's getting texts in there and returning them during this. I've never seen anything like this before in my life. I hope I never get in trouble in Orlando or wherever this is, because they'll say, they'll be like, that's one of those guys from that behavior panel thing, and you'll never see me again. If I ever go to Florida and y'all never hear from me again, I love you guys.
I'll be searching the Everglades for you.
Yeah, it won't be search to be doing that.
You guys are so full
Is
of
that what
it
you all are
today,
trying
man.
to do to portray me as?
Well, I keep saying today. This is a year old or however long this video's been out. This is not a new video, but I keep saying today because we're watching it today.
Anything. I'm simply asking you to explain to me what happened.
Everything was fine and dandy.
I don't call
Everything.
it fine and dandy.
Was fine and dandy.
Explain
You all
to me.
don't, okay, for me to tell you this, again, mind you, I've been without him for a day now.
Mhm.
I don't know.
It's cutthroat for her to be playing that video right now while she's saying
this.
this.
Was not in any way, shape, or form, hand on the Bible, intentional.
Okay. So you just left
I
him there
didn't
to
kill
teach
him.
You left him there to teach him a lesson?
I didn't mean to leave him there. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
You got up and walked away. How is that not intentionally leaving him there?
Because I'm looking at the hole, knowing that it's there. He'll get out no problem. Because you don't.
Then he doesn't.
But
Then you don't go check on him. You say you're up for 30 minutes, and he doesn't come up. You don't go down and check on him?
I'm in the bed.
You even moved,
And dozed off.
you admit to moving the suitcase, like, over, so.
You roll it.
You roll it out, like, it's not like,
I didn't want him to be like that. Don't.
you didn't want him to be upside down, how do you even get upside down?
Right. You guys are killing me right now.
I just want you to hear.
That's how he talks to me most of the time. I don't know how you want me to say it.
I'm just trying to figure out what you would expect to happen to somebody when you leave them in a suitcase.
I didn't mean to leave him in there.
Okay. Okay.
What's your reasoning for, not calling 911 sooner?
Because I didn't know what to do and how horrific it was. I called Brian, and 5 minutes later I called you guys? Not even 5 minutes. Nonetheless, that I had to I was trying to do CPR. I had to get him out and try to do CPR, and then called you guys. And I was continually doing CPR with the dispatch on the phone, where he had me count out loud to help me focus on what I was doing.
And like we talked about, somebody mentioned in here yesterday, we had Poppy is down here flipping and flopping all over the rug. When she, in that 911 call, when she went, ah, and flipped out and screamed, and she said, he's gurgling. If she would have been doing CPR on him before she called 911, that wouldn't have happened then. It would have already happened, you know? The trapped air. She should be hysterical, Laura, but she's certainly not.
It just, I don't know how, I mean, you can sit here all day long and say, I thought he was going to get himself out, but that he didn't, and you went upstairs, and you stayed there for 30 minutes before you fell asleep.
But can I say too,
You chose not to ever at any point during that 30 minutes walk back down and check on him.
No, wait 1 second, because I know, with you all, and then, because you continually ask me, time frames, where I told you, I don't bother even looking at the clock most of the time. So it's a guesstimate. So for all I know, maybe it was 10 minutes.
Okay. But the point is, you left the living room where he was begging for help and went upstairs. Regardless of how long you were there, you left. You say,
I thought he was the boy calling wolf. Again.
Okay.
So when he asked to be let out, Like, what's your reasoning for not letting him out?
When I was upstairs,
No, when he's asking on the video, he asked multiple times, he asked to be let out, I can't breathe, what, like, why didn't you let him out?
well, number one, I had no idea it was going to end like that.
Okay.
Number one.
Okay.
Number two, just, you know what? I'll give you 5 minutes or so in there. I'll give you 5 minutes or so.
5 minutes for what?
Well, based off the video, one video's at 11:12 and the next one's at 11:23, so you actually gave him at least 11 minutes per video recording. So my thing is,
Shoot, I was muted. There, yeah, I was going to say, Nicholas, there's that 5-minute part. Let me rewind it. But yeah, I was stinking muted. Here we go.
Time frames, where I told you, like, I don't bother even looking at the clock most of the time. So it's like a guesstimate. So for all I know, maybe it was 10 minutes.
Okay. But the point is, you left the living room where he was begging for help and went upstairs. Regardless
again-
of how long you were there, you left. You say,
I thought he was the boy calling wolf. Again.
Okay.
so when he asked to be let out, like, what's your reasoning for not letting him out?
When I was upstairs,
No, when he's asking on the video, he asked multiple times, he asked to be let out, I can't breathe, what, like, why didn't you let him out?
well, number one, I had no idea it was going to end like that.
Okay.
Number one.
Okay.
Number two, just, you know what? I'll give you 5 minutes or so in there. I'll give you 5 minutes or so.
5 minutes for what?
Well, based off the video, one video's at 11:12 and the next one's 11:23, so you actually gave him at least 11 minutes per video recording.
There you go, Nicholas. Yeah. He said 5 minutes for what? And she went. She was like, really? Yeah.
So
Good catch on that, Nicholas, though. Good catch.
my thing is, when it stopped, he asked multiple times, I mean, why? Why did you not let him out? It's just a simple question.
To be honest with you, I mean,
Don't
Were you
know.
punishing him?
no. Just,
Well, that's what you're saying in the video.
This is what you get, this is
Yep.
what you make me feel like.
see, and then it's all backfired on me. Like, it's all backfired on me. And I understand the severity of this.
Yeah, you did.
It's awful, I know.
Okay.
Awful. It's
It's
awful.
awful. And I will tell you both this right now, too. I will never drink alcohol again.
Okay.
Like, I will never drink alcohol again. I don't care
You're
what it
right.
is in any way, shape, or form.
You won't.
All right, Chase, what do you got?
I'm just going to talk about one thing in here that I don't think y'all will cover, or I hope. One thing that I've seen many times with guilty people who think they're about to get off the hook or think there's a chance is something that I call self-administered punishment. And innocent people don't feel that they need to tell you that they will self-administer some kind of punishment and that they've learned a lesson. And you see that here. I'm never going to drink alcohol again for the rest of my life. And then the detective, in the back of her mind, this is not a conscious process. In the back of her mind, she's going, well, if she knows that I've kind of learned a lesson from this, I'll just head home after this is over with. And another brilliant interrogation technique to get a confession is to walk in there with a paper and say, all I need you to do is handwrite a statement that says you understand that this was bad and you promise that you won't do it again. And the person believes that might get me out of there, but all it does is get you a step closer to the confession in many cases. And that's a case-by-case basis. That's all I got for that one. Mark, what do you got?
Wow.
Yeah, you got there first again. I'm afraid, Chase. I will never drink again. And then it says there, sorry, punishment.
Yep.
So yeah, I totally agree. She's punishing. She's displaying that she's already punished herself. I'm never going to drink again. We can all go home now. Done and dusted. And she does that after it's all backfired on me. Now again, like watch and listen, and just get curious. It's all backfired on me. How did that start? How did it start backfiring? Take us through that. If that's your idea that it's backfired on you, take us through that little element of it, because that's a great metaphor. It's a great idea that she's put forward there. They're just not listening to the ideas and investigating them. Now, body language wise, she's now really locked herself down in part of this, hands on knees. She's locked down. So I think she believes something is coming. I think she believes the end is near, but they're not going to take her there. But she thinks she's a little less optimistic than I think we are around how good this interrogation is. Greg, what do you got on it?
Yeah, I'm going to skip all the body language except for one little piece, but she confesses right here to what they need, and they just miss it. They just miss it. And she gets it by saying, why didn't you let him out? The single best question I've heard the entire day. And then you get that, I'll give you 5 minutes.
All right, Rogue. Thanks for coming in and hanging out with us today. It's been a fun day. I hope you have a good night, and I hope to see you back tomorrow. I'm going to be leaving here very soon to go get kiddo. This video has got about 7-8 minutes left. So thanks for coming and hanging out. Chaloon says, I don't even act like this if I accidentally step on my dog's paw, Lordy.
Minutes or so. Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. That right there shows that she is punishing him, that something is going on, that she had some intent. Now, you go back to that law. Look, when she's on trial, and that's going on right about now, they're going to bring all that up. They're going to say, look, I told him I'd give him 5 minutes or so. And she did kind of a really with her face. If you notice, that's the only piece of body language I would say. That's the beginning of a confession. With a good interrogator, all I do is I go in there and I start asking questions. And I'll say, was that retribution? Did he choke you? You said he choked you. Did you intend to keep him in there 5 minutes? And then you thought, well, I think I'm just going to go upstairs and let him suffer a little bit longer. And then you passed out? You knew he was suffering. You knew he couldn't get out. But they don't. They just keep pushing instead of listening. And instead of going back to her first thing where it wasn't in my plan, I went upstairs and then I passed out, and looping that back after she says I was going to give him 5 minutes in there. We miss all that. We miss a confession. And she's giving you the elements of it right here. Scott, what do you got?
All right. So you got everything. You went over everything I was going to. I thought I had a big old thing there. But you nailed everything. But let's focus on the guy again just for a second. Let me talk about that guy. Watch his body language. And think about the people you've seen on TV and cartoons when they're in a poker game or something and they won and they're pushing all the chips over to him. He's sitting there with his all scrunched up, doing his hands, looking like that, like he just won a bunch of money or he just won the lottery or something. Again, no teamwork in this. Nobody's listening to anybody. Everybody's on their phones, texting back and forth. The phones are dinging. They're looking at their phones. And when the woman is talking to Sarah, when she asks her a question, she looks down because her phone dings, and then she just sits there and flicks on her phone for a while, even while I don't think she's even listening to her. They can't be listening because this woman did everything she could do to give them all the information she could possibly give them. And they haven't heard a bit of it. And you'll notice it's the same thing over and over and over, like I've been doing, because that's what's going on in here. And I feel sorry for I feel sorry for her. I feel sorry for these two detectives because this is embarrassing. This is bad.
What's your reasoning for not calling 911 sooner?
Because I didn't know what to do and how horrific it was. I called Brian, and 5 minutes later I called you guys? Not even 5 minutes. Nonetheless, that I had to I was trying to do CPR. I had to get him out and try to do CPR, and then called you guys. And then was continually doing CPR with the dispatch on the phone, where he had me count out loud to help me focus on what I was doing.
It just, I don't know how, I mean, you can sit here all day long and say, I thought he was going to get himself out, but he didn't, and you went upstairs, and you stayed there for 30 minutes before you fell asleep.
But can I say on me? It's all backfired on me, and I understand the severity of this.
No, you did.
It's awful, I know.
Okay.
It's awful. And I will tell you both this right now, too. I will never drink alcohol again.
Okay.
I will never drink alcohol again. I don't care what it is in any way, shape, or form.
All right, let's throw it around the room one time and talk about what we think we've seen. Mark, why don't you go first?
Yeah, look, you don't need to argue. Don't argue. Watch, listen, be curious. Don't argue. Chase, what do you think?
Yep. With zero training in interrogation, zero, and just 3 minutes of training in understanding behavior and who you're speaking to, who that person is, this would have been a dramatically different interrogation. And I think they would have been successful without any interrogation training, just a tiny, tiny bit of behavior training. Different outcome. Greg?
I'll take it a step further. If you take the words of Don Landrum, one of my mentors, you got one mouth and two ears, shut up and listen, you would get a lot more. The word patterns that this person used along the way would tell you that they're trying to give you information. I think that she has no idea how much trouble she's in. She ends up getting arrested and is on trial. I think she has no idea how much trouble she's in, and she is bleeding information. I don't know that I would think that this was intentional. It looks like something gone wrong. Not going to weigh in on that. Not my job. But she bleeds so much information that the right touch point, the right listen, the right process, interrogation approaches, or narrative would have gotten her to give you the right words. Scott.
Right, Chaloon.
I think I could take my mother and the woman that cuts her hair and sit them down for about 4 minutes and say, do this, 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 and this. And they would have done so much better than these two. I think they would have walked out of there with a confession first, what they needed right out of the gate. I think it would have been over in about 15, 20 minutes. And that'd have been it. All right. I think this is another good one.
And they had a
fellas.
bit of good haircut as well.
That's true too. That's true. That's true too. All right. I think this is another good one, and I'll see you next time.
All right. That was it, you guys. I appreciate you for hanging out with me for the last 2 hours and 52 minutes. I'm going to scooch on out of here and go get my kiddo from school. And I'll be back tomorrow. He's thinking about her haircut too, right? The hairdresser. I knew you guys would catch that. I thought that was funny. We need the other Michelle to come in here and hear that. Funny. All right, you guys. I'll see you back tomorrow. Thanks for all the new folks coming in today. I hope that you guys decided to stay and subscribe and all the things. You have a great day too, Nicholas. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. I'll see you guys back tomorrow. Make sure to thumbs up, subscribe, like, share with your friends. Everything, all the YouTubey things. You guys have a really great, awesome, and safe night. Bye.